Talk Radio, then you are listening to the only locally owned and operated radio station in Tallahassee, and we appreciate that very much. Same goes for those of you who are tuned in and watching on Warchant TV on the YouTube channel. Thanks for doing that as well. And it is, as I said, Libations Friday. Loosey-goosey. Laid back. We do get another Game 7. I'm happy about that. I actually didn't expect that last night, and I don't think you watched a second of it, did you?
Hey, man, if you're going to tune in for any game in the NBA playoffs, let it be Game 7 of the finals. So, yeah.
You'll tune into the final one, will you?
Maybe. We'll see. We have Sunday Night Baseball this week, so maybe not.
Well, Oklahoma City had their worst offensive performance of the entire playoffs, and but I would tell you that the Thunder are 1-9 against the spread on the road this season. They're not very good, so you could have bet on Indiana there, and now they go back. Luckily for OKC, they're really good at home, so it's kind of weird. They are I don't want to bore everybody, but if you go into their scoring per 100 possessions on the road and then look at it at home, it's crazy. I mean, they're not the same team in any way, shape, or form. Like, they are bipolar as a basketball team. They don't make a lot of sense. Like, they can't shoot to save their life on the road, and they are incredibly dominant at home. It's just like, well, good God, guys. Because, in professional sports, it doesn't hold up like it does in college athletics.
Yes, that's true. However, I noted it last week. There's something weird going on in baseball. It's hard to win on the road this year. Most every team, there are very few teams that have winning records on the road across the bigs, and in the National League, it's pretty dire in terms of teams that are good on the road.
Did you look up to see, is that like, I know you're talking about winning records and so forth, but I wonder against the number, like from an odds standpoint.
Yeah, that I do not know. But it just, straight up, you would think it all evens out, right? Like, there are probably 7 or 8 teams that are over 500. No, in the National League, last I checked, again, this is a week ago, like 3 or 4 teams were over 500 in the entire National League. The entire NL West a week ago, nobody was over 500 on the road. Not the Dodgers, not anybody. And there were only a few teams that were over 4 games above 500 on the road. One of those was the Yankees, but they got swept at Boston over the weekend, so I doubt that they still are in that status. I just thought that's strange because baseball is the ultimate game of, I get the dimensions of the places are different, but baseball is the ultimate game of randomness.
Yes, it is. I bet on pitching every day. That's how I bet baseball. I just bet on pitching. First 5, I'm just like, okay, we got somebody good on the mound here. We'll go first 5 and go that route because I don't trust bullpens.
What's funny is when first 5 bets were first created, that accounted for 65-70% of a starter's outing, and now kind of is the starter's outing.
Yeah,
the first 5.
Yeah, the first 5.
That is the completion of the outing.
Hang on, yeah. Has anybody else read this article? Michael Langston wrote it yesterday. Massive international prospect picks up FSU offer at camp. Did you see this? You know who this person is.
I'm aware of who it is.
It's Luke Francis. He's from London, England. He got his 3rd offer, us being the 3rd, because of the camp he had, or this is a monster of an individual. When I clicked on it, I was like, okay, well, whatever. You got me. I'll read. You got me. But 6'5", 345. Look at that dude. I don't even know if he's any good, but I want him. I hope we get him, Tom. He's massive.
Well, who's a guy that he's obviously from the offensive line side of the equation, and still he is a GA on Florida State staff, and he's a friend of the program. Dimitri Emmanuel.
Yes.
He has history in England.
He does, and Dimitri is a lot of fun to talk with, and very knowledgeable.
And valued over there already in his budding and young coaching career.
You know what I did? I probably shouldn't have. I went down this rabbit hole very early this morning, Tom. But it just shows I'm getting buttoned up. I'm getting serious. I know PFF is what it is. There's good to extrapolate from PFF grades and bad and everything in between, and some that don't matter at all, right? You've got to understand what you're looking at when you look at PFF grades. But as a big picture, sort of a cursory glance at returning production and overall grades of performers, you could look at each one of our offensive linemen that were elsewhere a year ago, collectively put that group together, and get a gauge as to what that would be constituted as. So if you took Pettis, for example, and what he graded out at in the SEC, you looked at the competition, you look where he had good games, bad games, quality of the competition. I know you've done this with Gunnar Hansen as well, guys like that, right?
Petty Bond, all
of them.
There's a through line to all of them, but yes.
Yes. So what you found, and we kind of had this discussion, but what you found was that they were good, really good against teams that sucked. They were decent against teams that were good, right? And they were slightly above average against average opponents. So that, on paper, seems like a huge improvement when compared to what Florida State was on the offensive line last year against anybody. So that's positive. That would be a positive takeaway from a big picture, surface level glance at our 5 offensive linemen that we think that we're projecting to start anyhow, and what you had a year ago. But what that did was send me down the path of doing it for every segment group for our football team, and then every segment group for all of the teams we play.
How long were you at the computer?
Well, I got up at 5:30. I was drinking coffee, so about 2 hours. Didn't take that long. And I wasn't even jotting notes. This was just
clickety do.
Yeah, just kind of taking a look. Like, for example, if you look at the running back room, all right, I started looking at our opponents, but I also started looking at, okay, well, what is Sawchuck, and what is even fair to predict for a Roydell? What is even fair to predict for a true freshman in Usman Chroma? You can't really know. I know that I can't attribute a ton of production from any of the 47 running backs we have on the roster that I didn't just mention. I mean, these are all guys that have had a moment or two where you're like,
nice, a gain of 8.
Right. That's about what you have, right? What upsets you and where you realize, and again, this is just PFF and it's not the be all end all, but you start looking at certain segment groups for our competition, and you'll find somebody like Alabama has more than one segment group that is considered a PFF top 10 or PFF top 7. And so and that's one game, one opponent. But if you wanted to know why Alabama was a double-digit favorite this entire offseason, despite a 4-loss campaign a year ago and some real question marks coming into this season, why are they a huge favorite? That constitutes a huge line. If you think about Florida State at home, the history,
only if you consider the history.
Yes.
Yeah, the long-term history.
Right. The long-term history, there'd be very few instances in which Florida State would be 11 or 12-point underdogs at home against anybody. They could play the Steelers and they wouldn't be.
Yes. Yes. But if you look at the immediate history, it makes total sense.
Of course it does. Which adds
50% of the history of the last 10 years. It makes total sense.
Yeah, it pisses you off is what it does.
50% of the history of the last 20 years. It makes total sense.
It pisses you off. Yeah, it does. But I didn't do it for those purposes. I mean, that is just a surface level glance and to say I can see why Alabama is that kind of favorite over us, given what we've been or not been, more importantly. And even in the midst of what they would consider a poor run a year ago, they have a top 3 projected offensive line. You know how I feel about elite offensive lines and what you can predict from that point forward. Typically, all the other stuff is allowed to get figured out. If you can block it up, you got a lot of opportunities to season a young quarterback who's going to need a little help early on, right? To protect the defense who's going to need to be off the field, let's say, because they're not as strong as they once were in the secondary. I'm just making up these different scenarios by which you have segment groups that are stronger than others, and there's ways within football to protect those that are not as strong. But if you have top 3 offensive line projected, that's a good jumping off point. And I would like someday to once again be on a list of offensive line that's projected to be a top 30, 40 offensive line.
We were last year. All that returning production, all those returning starts, experience everywhere.
Right.
We were projected to be a pretty good offensive line last year.
PFF-wise or just what the coach thought?
I could go find PFF. My guess would be yes, because of the experience.
Tons of it.
Hundreds of starts.
Tons of it. A lot of starts. Yes. So maybe all at once that serves up a heaping helping of hope and or despair. You could say, yeah, well, sure, Jeff, Alabama's offensive line's projected top 3 in the country. What does it even mean? Florida State thought they had a great offensive line. Yeah, the difference is there's a good track record at Alabama. There really hadn't been at Florida State on the offensive line in some time. But what I don't like is how many times I'm looking at these PFF projections and I'll see a couple of our opponents, Tom, that have 2 and 3 segment groups with projected top 10 units. Yeah. And you're like, good God, man, if they're even close to right, you're up against it significantly. Because you guessed it, folks, there ain't a Florida State group in any of this, anywhere.
Well, we're supposed to lose a month's worth of football games. I mean, yeah, the opponents have to be better than us if Vegas is saying 7.5 or 6.5, whatever it is right now in terms of total wins.
Right.
So here we are.
Yeah, I think it's a more stark reality to go through and see, like, oh, Clemson, top 10 receiver group, top 10 offensive line, top 10 quarterback room. Great. It's on the road. Lose by 80. I mean, you kind of, when you look at it that way, you realize, like, okay, it's not even a fair fight. And it pisses you off again. And you do it with Alabama, too. You're like, well, that's a problematic matchup.
This is where my 20 years of living here and it being split down the middle of good and bad, I'm more conditioned for it. Well, we're not going to win that game barring some unforeseen circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put it out of my mind. You know, like the Alabama game. If the Alabama game was in November, I would feel the way I do about the Clemson game.
Yeah. So you like where we get them,
but
of course.
Because the Alabama game kicks off the season, there's a lot of variance there. And frankly, a lot of pressure on both coaches, but there's a lot of pressure on the road team here because they're the favorite. They're coming in. And if they start the season 0-1 and DeBoer is coming off of horrible losses the year before, that noise ain't good. And who knows? Maybe the culture of their program is on thin ice. It's still good, but the kids are waiting for a chin check of their own. And if they go on the road and Florida State finds a way to beat them with a kick as time expires the way that Georgia Tech did us in Dublin, maybe those kids are ready to lay down. I mean, that the other team can have problems too, and it's easier to unearth those problems week 1.
Agreed. Alabama was, and again, this is PFF, not the be-all, end-all, but they are considered to have the number 1 offensive line in the country. To be noted, a bet I made yesterday and told you guys that I was floating out there. You know who's number 2 on that list? Utah.
All right.
Also, can we stop letting Utah out-recruit us on the offensive line? Can we do better than that, please?
I'm sure they're not landing loads of 4 and 5 stars at Utah.
They're developing some dudes, aren't they?
They are. But that's what I'm saying. In that particular case, maybe go find that guy because he has a way of managing and turning 3 stars into, high-end NFL players or guys you can wager on in a future for college football season.
So Spencer Fano is the top returning offensive tackle in college football at Utah, right? The opposite side at left tackle, Caleb Lemieux. He's a first-round pick grade. So Utah has 2 first-round tackles. I mean, I'd give my left foot at this point for 2 first-round offensive tackles at Florida State. Can you imagine that? Imagine living in a world where even if it weren't true, it was just projected that you had 2 first-round tackles holding it down for you in Tallahassee. We wouldn't know what to do. I talk about it every day.
I'm trying to find these guys in the recruiting classes just by going year by year. What were their names again?
Okay. The 2 offensive tackles, Spencer Fano, Fano, F-A-N-O. He was, by the way, a sophomore last year. He'll be a junior this year. He led all tackles with a grade of 92.7. He had a 93.6 run blocking grade. The other guy is the Caleb Lomu, Lomu.
All right. So Spencer was a blue chipper.
Okay, there you go.
Somehow he was an interior offensive line projection. He was 6'4" and 275.
Well, now he's a tackle, and he's going to go in the first round of the NFL draft.
And the other kid, sorry, third time.
Caleb Lomu, Lomu.
Lomu.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he looks like a friendly guy.
What is he?
It's thinking. He was the 14th rated offensive tackle, and he was a 4-star.
Yeah. So, they are bringing in blue chip offensive linemen to Utah, Tom.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them is right. We could get off our ass. They're doing it in Utah.
We've brought in blue chip offensive linemen. We have loads of them. It's just they all sucked. 2022 was littered with blue chip offensive linemen, that class. It was. We had 3 or 4, and Armello being the head honcho of that bunch.
Snow Dad's picking up what I'm laying down here, by the way, with that last comment in the section there.
Well, he likes to kiss up the teacher.
No, but I've been saying this for how many years? Everybody knows it. I'd be on the islands. I'd be out there. Mass producing offensive and defensive linemen at a rate that belies the tininess of that place. It has no sense whatsoever. I don't know. But if you do that, again, I didn't do this exercise just to get angry. I just happened to notice it, and then I went down. I'm like, well, why is Utah's offensive line still highly rated? And then I just started looking. I'm like, oh, well, NFL guy. Golly, they're getting them out to Utah, are they?
That they are, in droves.
Mm-hmm. You know what that is? That's a point of emphasis. That is a head coach who is recognizing the vital importance of procuring elite offensive line clay to build, to mold. You got, that's good, A, evaluation, and B, development.
Correct.
Let's help Herb Hand is now that guy. I mean, come on, man.
Well,
how many tries do we get?
A lot of 4-star kids that he was talking to the last couple of months, most of them have gone elsewhere. So, that it's been quite the up and down in the last month, where Herb was in on a lot of potential candidates, a couple of guys out of the Tampa Bay area, Sarasota, Clearwater, things like that. And they've chosen other places. And then the defensive line, we were concerned about significantly because, you could poke it with a stick, the recruiting board, and there doesn't seem to be any activity. And now we've got a couple 4-star defensive linemen in the last couple weeks. So it's interesting how there's been some ups and downs in that regard. But hopefully Herb is a developer, because that would be brand new to this place. Atkins' first year, you got something out of those kids right away.
Right away. And it's what gave us hope, and it turned out to be false hope. And then he didn't really develop anybody and or make a splash in recruiting. But if you want to be bothered, you'll note that in that same ranking, and again, it's not the be-all, end-all. People could quibble with this and make good cases for it. I understand. But if you're going to take cursory glances, here you go. Florida's number 4 on that list. Florida's number 4. Yeah, that's a problem. Miami's number 8. You play both. Clemson's number 10. You also play them. Last year, you played Notre Dame. They're number 9 this year. Well, they sure looked like they had one of the elite offensive lines in the country a year ago and damn near won a national title. So, there's correlation. You're starting to see it. And it's again, an emphasis on we've got to see a real uptick in the quality of play that you get in the trenches. And I don't know how much you're going to see it this year. Obviously, with the new coordinators, I am fair about this. It's not going to happen overnight with a 2-10 campaign the year before. They're not responsible for that. Herb Hand, it's not his fault that we went 2-10 last year. It's not Tony White's fault we went 2-10 last year. Certainly not Gus Malzahn's fault that we went 2-10 last year. So it is Mike's fault. But you you've got these guys now, and I don't know what we can expect of them in recruiting, but I do know where a lot of the teams on our schedule that are ranked and that are currently in the offseason favored above us, where they live in these annual rankings.
Agreed. I would just say that what I'm looking at in this moment is evaluation skills, because the development skills is a lag effect. With Herb, he might be able to turn around kids you already have on campus. That's fine. That's development. But the evaluation, the 2022 class had 3 or 4 4-star offensive linemen. 2023 had 2 or 3. And a couple of these guys are tackles too when they come in. Armello was projected as a tackle. Lucas Simmons was projected as a tackle. Jalen Early was projected as a tackle. But these are all 4-star kids.
Yeah, I'm going to give Lucas Simmons a pass. There was a medical issue there.
Sure.
They completely whiffed on our boy who's now wherever the hell he is.
Armello?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at UCLA, right? Yeah, and Early and Daughtry Richardson, Kanaya Charlton, Jalen Early the next go around, or I think he actually might have been in that class, excuse me. But Lucas Simmons, and now Jonathan Daniels was recruited 2 cycles ago. ITT was recruited 2 cycles ago, both 4-star players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you brought some in, but they just kind of get on campus and then they don't do anything.
Poking them with the stick.
Well, somebody.
Can we get something out of you guys?
It's either going to be the coach or the evaluator or the kid. I mean, there's a pie chart for each of these.
Yeah, that's for sure. No, so the least surprising thing I found was when I did this for every segment group, like I said this morning, over some tasty coffee. Ohio State has the number 1 receiving core in the we were all like, yeah, that happens. But damn it, man, Auburn's 2, Clemson's 3, great, Clemson's 3, Ole Miss 4, Bama, hey, there they are again, number 5, Georgia 6, LSU 7, Texas 8, A&M 9, and Notre Dame 10. You realize Florida State ought not be excluded from every one of these lists in the wake of schools like Texas A&M who never win anything ever. It's been a long time since Notre Dame has been omnipresent on these lists, at skill positions like wide receiver, not running back. They've always had a lot of good running back, but wide receiver, come on, man. We ought not be getting out recruited there.
I guess that's a position where I in the last 30 years, we've got like 6 good dudes at receiver,
which is a problem.
But I mean, that's so.
But why does LSU? Why does LSU annually have one of the top 5 receiving corps in the country?
Hey, man, they produce dudes to the league we don't.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for that. It's Florida effing State.
I'm just saying when you're going on 20, 30 years of it kind of is you.
Correct. It shouldn't be.
I know.
Is the point I'm making.
Yeah, I hear you.
It ought not be.
The pointing down versus the ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Ole Miss is now annually way up here on this list. Your favorite coach?
Right. Like if we did a top 25, what was the thing that you did? Was it the NFL players of the quarter century team?
Yeah.
Call it even a top 15. Florida State's top 15 wide receivers the last 25 years. I don't know, man. You'd have like 6 or 7 that you really beat your chest.
Oh, yeah. You'd have a few
that player.
Yeah. You'd have a few that you're very, very.
By the time you get to 9 or 10, you're like,
Well, it's like so they also do individual just player rankings instead of segment group rankings. And I want to reiterate, I understand this is just one set of rankings. What you need to do when you're doing this, besides watch the games and the teams, is obviously assess by putting together several means of evaluation. It's not a singular place that you go to. I'm just doing this for the purposes of discussion. It was because I went down the rabbit hole today. But I didn't need to look up Jeremiah Smith. I knew he'd be the number 1 rated individual receiver in the country. And he was, by the way. He is rated number 1. But what bothered me was that when I went through the rest of the list, so yes, you guessed it, Ryan Williams, all-world.
Yeah.
And we're going to see him bright and early in the season.
Hopefully our safeties do.
I hope they go head hunting earlier. Early.
I hope they play
penalty. Penalty.
No doubles defense. That's what I want to call our safety construction. Tony White, I know you said you're a baseball guy. No doubles defense from the safeties, please.
Yeah, he's a freak, and it's problematic. So, last year, his freshman season, for all of his freshman season, Tom, he was 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, Alabama's produced a lot of great receivers, and we understand that. But then it angers me that all you got to do is go a little bit further down this list, and you'll see that Jordan Tyson is at Arizona State. Elijah Surratt is at Indiana. Eric Singleton's at Auburn. I don't feel like Auburn should be out recruiting you at wide receiver.
That's the kid they got from Georgia Tech. That kid can fly.
They got another kid, Cam Coleman, who's a stud at Auburn. Well, Auburn's out here just receivers every which way to Sunday.
Wasting their careers.
Bryant Wesco, the kid at Clemson, top 10. Just a bunch of, are you kidding me, man? It's frustrating.
The deuce is loose.
It's very, very, very frustrating. We'll see. We'll see if we make inroads. It's just easy to go through and paint the picture. But the real reason I did it was I was like, well, we play Clemson. Well, we play Alabama. Well, last year we did play Notre Dame last year. Thankfully, we don't this year. We did play Florida this year. We do, damn it, man. Going through all these guys, like every week when we play one of the better teams on our schedule, if you go look at those PFF grades, multiple units, even on the bad teams that we face, higher rated than us. Segment group.
You know what? That 7-5 is okay. This is a very tough schedule.
It's not the schedule, but it is a dearth of overall talent. Maybe, just maybe, the mass influx of transfer portal players will change all of that, and the outlook will read very differently this time next year when I'm sipping on my coffee and I'm going through the top 10 segment groups of, every team in the country.
Yeah, I've been shoveling optimism, phrasing, shoveling optimism this segment. But here's one thing that I've been thinking about, chewing on the last few weeks. It doesn't seem like when guys stay for their super senior season, things tend to go very well.
Right.
And
like if they were really good, they wouldn't be here.
Well, like Darius and Maurice didn't exactly have a great 2024, and that was their final year. I mean, I think they probably checked this offseason to see if they could get another one. Rob Scott, now I know that was a deteriorating thing with his health as time went along.
That was his health, yeah.
But we've had some guys over the years on both sides of the trenches decide to come back, not for a junior season or not like for like that fifth year.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always seem to go
very it's well. Almost like they chose to come back because they weren't going to get drafted.
I'm just hoping that this crop of offensive linemen that are all super seniors that we brought in as transfers.
It makes you nervous, doesn't it?
That's the one thing where I go, well, we all thought that the progression to get better as you stay in college for longer, but I'm not so sure that 4th to 5th year these days.
I will say, though, in the case of like a Pettis or somebody like that, you could go look and see where he was. I mean, he wasn't elite, but you can see where he was productive in the SEC.
Again, as the guy who's shoveling optimism, I hear you. However, Darius' grades in 2023 were pretty good. They were pretty good.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous.
T-Spark Enterprises, you don't have to be nervous. Get your roof all straightened up, whether that's a commercial business that you have, tenant build-outs, all those kinds of things, or it's just your house. You want to make sure you're good to go. Give you all kinds of advice on their website also of how to make sure that your roof lasts longer. Obviously, checking gutters helps with all of that, but heavy rains wear down shingles over time. T-Spark will come out and assess for you for free. Check out what are you laughing at?
Sorry, Robert's comment. Last year's team looked like they were practicing aerobics. And I'm just thinking of the offensive line and how they would pull and gingerly move around.
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. There was no violence.
They're arriving to the place.
Well, they're receiving the blocker. They're receiving the defensive player.
They're going to redirect you.
Yeah.
As they arrive.
Yeah, there was a whole lot of booby blocking. They weren't doing anything assertive. It was something. It was just
sometimes you could take judo too far, man.
I mean, it was
you trying to hug him?
T-Spark, give him a call today, 850-766-1340. That's T-Spark Enterprise. License number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204.
Summer starts early here in Florida, which means we get more beach time, more sunshine, and more time to enjoy refreshing, sweet, and juicy fresh from Florida watermelon. The best part of summer is already here. Find locally grown Florida watermelon where you shop. Just look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name. Fresh from Florida. There's sunshine in every bite.
Porterman, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Porterman, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, 1 second it's air, water, air, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Porterman, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity to get straightened out.
Looking to upgrade your backyard, your business, or even your life? Then you've got to check out Southeast Portable Buildings right here in Tallahassee.
That's right. Southeast Portable Buildings has everything. Sheds, cabins, carports, and now beautiful decks to go with them.
Imagine a brand new storage building and a deck out front. Perfect for that morning coffee or for your family gatherings.
Need something custom? No problem. They'll work with you to find exactly what fits your needs. Big or small, simple or stylish.
And with easy financing options, you can make your dream space happen sooner than you think.
Southeast Portable Buildings, where you're not just getting a building, you're getting a lifestyle upgrade. Give our friends a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400.
Southeast Portable Building.
Big buildings.
Big decks.
Big dreams.
Southeast Portable Buildings on West Tennessee Street, just north of Capitol Circle in Tallahassee.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, by the way, for our previous discussion off the air, Tom, just now, I've renewed everything too. And I'm not, because my birthday's in June, I had to get my new sticker. Got my new sticker, no problem. Nothing came up.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't imagine it would because it's the state of Florida.
Oh, the computers across all state lines, my man.
Okay, right. I just want to know when look, man, I want to know when the deadbeats of the city are going to give you your money back.
They're never going to give you my money back. And they've never even reached out. And we have people who work, in the city or for the state, whatever it might be, who listen to the show. And I'm surprised somebody hasn't said, listen, let me look into it. You did get screwed.
Look into it. You cowards. Somebody
look into
look
it, right?
into it. It's a car he doesn't own. Never did
I've
own.
never owned. I've never seen it. I don't know. Yeah, never. None of it. None of it.
It's sick.
It's a miscarriage of justice. There's no doubt. Yeah, I got screwed. But, my mind's at ease. I paid the $50 whatever, and the city got a little bit of money out of me for no reason. But there you go. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And they make it impossible to fight it. That's their whole thing. They just make it up out of thin air. And then you're like, that's not my car. Don't own that car. Never have. Nobody I know does. Nope. Wasn't me. I wasn't there. Because they send you a picture, too. That's the funny part of this.
Yeah.
So they sent me a picture of this Toyota van that I don't own, have never owned. It's not my license. None of it. And I'm like, well, I don't know whose car that is. Thanks for sending me that, but that's not my vehicle. I can prove it. Like, it's you.
It could be somebody over in Madison who is messing with the figures because they need to be off the books in the van. What was the van carrying? And they're trying to pin it on you.
Pin it on me.
And because you paid the $50, they're going to come get you.
No, I've got the picture they sent me. I'm like, that is not my van. There's none of this. It's ridiculous. Justin Thomas going for it today. 500 through 14, moved to within a shot of the lead. The leaderboard being Scotty Scheffler, Austin Eckroat. Take it on down the road, Austin Eckroat. Justin Thomas, Nick Taylor, Denny McCarthy. Okay, we'll see. Rory teeing off here in about 3 minutes.
I hope he's happy today.
You're going to exacerbate this. Who else is... Okay. We've got some bigger names going here. What's Victor Hovland doing today? What's Colin Morikawa doing today? See where Brian Harmon has come back down to earth. That's good. That'll make you happy, Tommy.
Yeah, that always makes my day brighter.
Yeah. Hovland's even, but 400 for the tournament. Tommy Fleetwood is even today, 400 for the tournament. So we'll see how many are up. Oh, boring-ass Patrick Cantlay, who I knew I should have picked. Forever right there in these tournaments that don't matter. He's never a threat to win them. But he's, But you see what I'm saying with what I was talking about before? Like, it doesn't bother me that Ohio State is number one with receivers. They've had a pipeline for some time now. It's been very impressive. They've cultivated this and done a great job. But it does bother me that Auburn is number two on this list, that Ole Miss, and that, perennially LSU has 3 NFL receivers every effing year. We can't get one to Tallahassee. We can't get any of these guys to Tallahassee. What's Texas A&M doing with all the receivers? They don't win any games. What are we doing?
My guess is 2 years ago, we were probably top 5 on PFF's wide receiver list because we got Keon. So we had Keon and Johnny. That probably was enough for us to qualify.
But yes, and I know that I can't be satisfied in this debate. We had to go get him from somebody else, of course. We couldn't have been bothered recruiting.
No,
yeah.
There's a concession in my tone of voice when it comes to receiver play at Florida State. I mean, you've got...
You've hit on something here, Tom, that is amazing. I'll never forget. Our mutual friend, works for a different side. I don't care. Chris Nee's a great guy, and we've known him forever. And I was talking to him about receivers, and if you remember, Florida had a run where they could not get a receiver.
You were talking to him at the airport by baggage claim.
I don't think that's true.
It is. I know this story.
Well, the long story of it all is we could not get Florida could not get a receiver. And I was saying to him that I was stunned. And, that's his trademark. He does recruiting. So I was asking him, I was like, how's that happen? And he says, after a while, partly, he gave me a more nuanced answer. But the crux of it was, look, after a while, it's self-fulfilling. When you've gone 7 years without a good receiver, people don't look at you as an option to come play wide receiver. So, and I get that. I understand that. But what pisses me off about that is now Florida sits in the top 10 in this. I'm like, well, they've found a way. And they're not out here winning games. They're 7-5. They're not out here whooping ass. They finally had a winning season the first time in a long time. I mean, come on, man. There are ways to break through. And that's the other part of it. I would think Mike Norvell, being a former receiver who knows the position, loves the position, would really make that a point of emphasis. Now, maybe it will be. Maybe this year we see it. Deuce Robinson goes nuts. Squirrel White adds to it. Javon Boggs, who they love,
right,
makes an immediate impact. Lil Wayne McCoy takes a step forward. All of a sudden, we could be singing a different tune. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping.
You needed to hit on Hakeem or Destin.
Well, and we got screwed with Destin. The Hakeem thing, I think they whiffed on the eval, but the Destin situation, I think he would have been good. He got hurt here.
Yeah.
Not once, but twice. I mean, that Pitt game, he's going to go off, but he can't run.
Right. Yeah, I think that was a legitimate one. Pokey ended up being a good player for us, but if I'm just looking at evaluations. I mean, you've got hope in LaWayne McCoy, in Elijah Moore, in BJ Gibson. Like, these are kids that are younger in their career. They're 4-star players that got on campus. They're in year 2. So there could be something there. If Javon Boggs is a player for you, and let's say 2 of those 3 are pretty good receivers, and then Boggs is a good one. So I'm talking about last year's freshman class and then Boggs. All right, now you got 3 guys. You can move forward with that. You've already got a 4-star committed in Bennett. There's another ATH committed. I don't know if he's playing offense or defense. And then you could be in line to flip a couple of 4-star receivers here in the near future.
Yeah, you got to keep recruiting, obviously. I won't hold my breath. Even if we get some of those.
Right. Even if we get these 4 stars, I don't believe that they're going to be good.
Because we haven't proven it. Right. So, I'll hold my breath.
So it's like we could ask for the recruiting. In some ways, they've done it. But then those kids, what matters more than if a 4-star signs with you in December is, does he do anything when he gets here? Like, what good is a blue chip ratio if none of your blue chips are good?
Well, you could also say this coincides with the fact that we haven't exactly developed any quarterbacks. I mean, Jordan Travis, I guess you're going to get a little credit for him.
You get credit for that.
You get some credit for that. Not all the credit, but you get some credit for that. But who the hell else? We've done nothing. Nothing. Just ass at quarterback. And it's tough to get good receivers when you're ass at quarterback. It's the Kermit meme. Yep, we just nod our heads.
This is what 2 and 10 does. It makes June 20th feel close to football season and very far away, all at the same time.
The thing is that when you're getting through the dog days of summer and you're trying to have honest dialogue about what's to take place in July, because really it all gets moving. And you get excited. When the calendar flips to July, we all get excited because there are very real dates in the month of July that pertain specifically to the start of college football. And that's why it's in earnest when you have those conversations. It's not just drumming up topic-related stuff to fill time in an off-season on a sports talk show or on a message board or whatever. July becomes real. You get ramped up, and you get excited about it. So we're dangerously close to that. You can see it from where we sit, and it's why you get excited. But you're right. We're all just sitting here marinating in the failure of a year ago.
The stew of discontent.
And
I think part of it though is it's not the fault of these new coaches. So you have to let it go, even though you have the same head coach. This is a very unique situation.
It is.
Usually it's, well, I don't know what we're going to get out of this roster of Norvell's players, but we fired him and all his coordinators, so we'll see what this new staff can do. No, it's the same head guy, but it's a whole bunch of new sergeants and lieutenants that are working on these kids. Because if you think about Mike Norvell's tenure and the success stories of the players on the roster, and you just divide it up very simply as percent success of transfer versus high school kid, there's a percentage that yields. And the success rate for players on this roster for transfers, the ratio of transfers to high school players in his time here, it's so heavily skewed to transfers. Doesn't mean you can't develop a transfer player, but it's not the same thing. We all know it's not the same thing as bringing in a kid out of a prep class and then having him come up the ranks through a natural progression. We just had to go get 4 new starters in the offensive line this year. We had to get 2 new starters at receiver.
No, I know.
We brought in a starter at running back. Brought in a starter at quarterback, a starter at tight end.
Corner.
Edge. Corner. We tried really hard at safety, but we failed to.
Linebacker.
Line times 2 or 3.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
See? Even when you're... It's just
the legacy of this staff to this point.
Yeah.
New guys in the building. Got it. Has been they don't develop hardly anybody. You know the examples. You can count them on one hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, precious few, Tom.
But they're gone now, and that's in the past.
Shannon Young has made a move to be part of the nation's largest mortgage company, now with Cross Country Mortgage. Of course, you guys know that. I tell you that every day. Go to loansforknowles.com. Let Shannon help you out. He will get you the best loan options to buy your new home. That's what we're talking about here. He is great at his job. Does it in 7 different states now: Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. Better rates, better options, faster response, relentless, goal-oriented. That's my man, Shannon. Loansforknowles.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Cromley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance of thunderstorms today. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. High temperatures reach up to 94. Northwesterly winds around 5 miles per hour.
Not afraid to live a little off course. TheWaywardGent.com.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So, like, different breeds, like different kinds.
There's like families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch
or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And I've never
heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Adam, let me address your comment here. Yeah, no, I get that, and I've said that. You're not going to attract big-time NFL prospects at quarterback with the offense that you're running here, but you don't need to. You don't need to. You can win college football games with a really good college football quarterback running a college football system.
It would be a really good get, though, if O'Neal commits and signs. I mean, that's not nothing to this offense.
I think it's a good get in that perception-wise, you finally signed a quarterback. He's got some stature to him. I don't know. I mean, I don't think any of us know. We'll see how he projects, 2 years from now.
For sure. I'm just saying it's not a throwaway prospect that you get because nobody wants to play in the system. Like it would be a legit 4-star. Now, I think Sperry fits better.
He does.
It'll be cool to see him in a year or two.
Yeah. You know who really fits this offense? The one that you need to call on a daily basis and remind him that he chose Houston. Houston, my man. I would just wake up if I were Tony Tokars every morning. Houston. Just send.
Question mark?
Houston. All caps. Houston. Yeah, just send it. That's all I'd say every day. Every day. Third game of the season. Houston.
You trying to go into space?
I would. I couldn't help myself. I would do it. Houston. But yeah, because he really fits. And, well, he happens to be a big-time prospect, too. But so you would have checked both boxes there. But, yeah, no, it's okay. You can cater to this offense. I think we're having a different discussion. If this all works out, which is what we've said before, you brought this coach in, your offensive coordinator. You brought him in solely to raise the floor. You brought him in because there's a certain level of success that you're almost guaranteed to have running this system if you're competent. And that means you're going to win 7 games, 8 games, thereabouts any given year. The question becomes, can you really win big running this system? And can you get to that place from where you sit now with him? I don't know if the answer is yes. I suspect it's not. But you are trying to raise it till we can get to 8, 9 wins, something like that. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653. Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend, Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachia Parkway.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Crescent, Tallahassee.
Your sports flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Florida football has picked up another commitment. This is 4-star cornerback C.J. Branham.
He is down of Winter Garden. There was a battle for his services. Florida State was in on him as well, but he ends up making the decision to commit to Florida. 26 total offers mentioned Florida State, Penn State, Missouri. Also reportedly there were teams that he was strongly considering. Tampa Bay Rays baseball, they lose to the Orioles yesterday 4-1. They're going to take on Detroit coming up tonight. James Boz on the mound looking for his 7th win. And the Marlins lose to the Phillies yesterday 2-1. Tonight, the Marlins are going to open up a series against Atlanta. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Find what you love, love what you find. Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guys in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/policy. That's ethos.com/policy.
Feeling sluggish? Wake up your body the right way with Vigor. The all-new Vigor Cold Plunge Tub from Hot Spring Spas is now available exclusively at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Boost circulation, reduce inflammation, sharpen your focus, and more. Elite athletes do it daily, and now you can too. Experience the power of cold therapy in your own home. Come see the Vigor Cold Plunge, available only at Pinch a Penny on Capitol Circle Northeast and Greer Road.
Ain't nothing but a G-Pod, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby.
See? Remix.
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's a bit of a down, sort of dire first hour there with me getting frustrated and venting a little bit about our recruiting and evaluation and development woes. And all you can do is look forward. All you can do is look ahead. So I will ask, 5-star linebacker Xavier Griffin, did we procured, I should say, the last visit from him, right? That's it?
Yes. The dead period kicks in Sunday, Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that considered a really big deal?
It is.
You're not buying it? You don't feel good about it?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is a prospect who has been all over the place.
Like, has said yes to a bunch of different people?
Yeah.
But we get the last one.
We do.
So,
we do. Yeah. It's not nothing. Not insignificant.
So he's visited Alabama. He's gone to Texas, Ohio State. Normally, I would tell you that if you're being recruited by Alabama, Ohio State, and Texas, we're not getting them. But I don't know. I thought that it meant something to have a prospect on campus for an official and its last one being here, right?
Of course. Yeah. And that puts us right up there with USC and Alabama in terms of most visits. That's one little handy thing they have on the On3 profiles is how many times has a kid been on campus. And this month, his 4 weekends of official visits were to Ohio State on the 30th of May, Alabama the following week, then Texas, and now us.
All right. So you're telling me to temper my enthusiasm, but yeah, he's here.
Yeah, he's here. Yep.
I saw the picture. I also see the tight end who looks like a monster, by the way. I know nothing about him, but that's a cool name as well. Is that Hees? Because if it's Hezzy, that's even better.
Do the Hezzy?
If it's Hezzy, it can't be, right? It's Hees, but he looks intimidating. I know Ephraim White, who's already a Florida State commit, is here. We're trying to wrestle away Jay Timmons from Indiana. God, I still have trouble saying that out loud. Amari Thomas, obviously, is here. But I get excited. Linebackers, offensive linemen, all right.
Amari Thomas has basically just been here the last 2 weeks. So
he's got to be in, right? So. He's got to be. I'm looking at offensive line prospects more than anything else. Let's get this elevated. Let's get this done. They're in the defensive line. Although I do get excited about linebackers, including 5-star kids that, again, being heavily recruited by Southern Cal, who you could beat out. Ohio State and Texas, if they really want them, you're not going to beat them out. Alabama, probably not going to beat them out. But we'll see. That was positive to me, and I haven't mentioned it. So I thought, well, to be fair, since I was doom and gloom in hour one, I'll note that I was excited about Xavier Griffin. And again, as somebody who doesn't spend a lot of time watching these recruits, I don't know. But I got to guess if he's being recruited by Texas and Alabama, he doesn't suck. That's a fair assumption. Wonder what we're willing to pay for.
That's the whole thing.
It is the whole thing.
We showed some purse strings in December. We've showed some purse strings in the last month, I think, as well.
You saw Missouri. Did you see the number that Missouri allegedly spent on NIL money this past year?
I did not.
$31.5 million.
Across all sports or football?
Yeah, I think it's across all sports, but man, go ahead on then, guys.
Did they do anything with that money? I don't really feel like I remember Missouri in a final or a semifinal of any kind.
You could argue that, look, I think on the one hand, you would say they're committed, clearly. They're committed to trying to win. They're committed to getting something done. On the other hand, you'd say, well, can you? Can you at Mizzou? But I'm looking at it more along the lines of what is it going to take? But this immediately sends us down the path of having the discussion that we've had too many times and are had by college football fans everywhere, day in, day out, minute by minute, hour by hour, week by week, which is that even a thing anymore? It's not really. Then again, the counter is, well, legally, this is all dubious. It's not going to uphold, so the money's going to keep going up no matter what this college football commission says. It's the being in limbo that makes it difficult.
So 31.5 to finish 41st in the Directors Cup for Missouri.
What they finish in football and basketball?
I'll tell you.
Because nobody cares if they're finishing way down the road in swimming or track, fencing, lacrosse, soccer. They only care on whether or not, in the sports that matter, they made a significant leap forward.
10-win season, 5-3 SEC for Drinkwitz.
Yeah, that's not bad. Missouri's surprisingly competitive in the SEC in football.
They really have been since they've been there.
About it.
Yeah.
It is surprisingly competitive.
They won the East 2 or 3 times.
Early, right away.
In the Jimbo era, around that time.
Yeah, right away.
That's who Auburn beat in the SEC title game the year that we played Auburn for the Natty.
Yeah,
Missouri.
It's been interesting to see how that's worked for them. They do care about that. I'm always just fishing for the numbers it's going to take. I'm kind of curious about it. The University of Wisconsin and its NIL collective have filed a tampering lawsuit against the University of Miami, according to Ross Dellinger. The Big Ten has released a statement in support of the Badgers. The Big Ten Conference is aware of the litigation recently filed by the University of Wisconsin against the University of Miami and is supportive of UW-Madison's position. As alleged, the University of Miami knowingly ignored contractual obligations and disregarded the principle of competitive equity that is fundamental to college athletics. The Big Ten Conference believes that the University of Miami's actions are irreconcilable with sustainable college sports frameworks and supportive of Wisconsin's efforts to preserve. Wisconsin and the Big Ten are mad at Miami for poaching defensive back Xavier Lucas. Ross Dellinger called the lawsuit over tortious interference a first of its kind, perhaps a precedent-setting move.
My territory for collectives or rev share agreements versus your territory.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The lawsuit details what transpired in the winter amongst the three parties, Wisconsin, Miami, and Lucas. Wisconsin claims that Miami communicated with Lucas despite knowing he had entered into a contract with the school, something it terms as intentional interference that was not justified or privileged and caused Lucas to breach the contract. So, we're at that place where you can't hold the kids accountable for breaching the contract because they're not employees. So this is what we said once before, but it is interesting to see now at the schools.
Well, I don't think they would bring this lawsuit if they didn't have some sort of electronic record of said communication. Maybe the kid was dumb enough to email from his, UW-Madison account or something, because you can allege that somebody tampered with somebody, but if you can't prove a timeline of contract date, contract received, and ratified, or whatever the hell, is made official on the Wisconsin side of things, and then communication thereafter from Miami, I just wonder what electronic device they would have. Did they issue an iPad to the kid or something? Like, they have to have that answer in order to proceed with the lawsuit, or else it would just be bogus and
they go on to allege that the Miami interfered with Wisconsin's relationship with a student athlete, Lucas in this case, by impermissible contact with him and engaging in tampering. Impermissible contact, that's interesting. I mean,
well, again, once he signed a contract, you could look at the date and the time, and then.
But he signed an NIL contract. That doesn't mean you can't talk to the kid.
I mean, what would they be talking to him about?
But no rules have been enforced.
How about this
along
inflation,
that.
Xavier?
Yeah, but I'm saying they're not asking him for life secrets. I'm saying obviously they're trying to interfere, but every team in America is interfering with kids that have signed NIL deals.
This is what I'm saying is I don't think you would bring this before a judge if you didn't have some kind of smoking gun. Remember the Chappelle bit about R. Kelly? They want the ID, they want bombs, like, you would have to have that level of proof in order to even let a court hear this.
So Wisconsin and Lucas agreed to a 2-year revenue share agreement that is set to begin July 1st. And that is why Wisconsin refused to enter Lucas's name into the portal when he requested a transfer. But he found a way around it, withdrawing from classes and enrolling academically in Miami. So, I mean,
I think the thieves have honor amongst themselves, and in this case,
they're attempting to. We'll see. It's going to set precedent if whatever happens.
Agreed. I also don't think the Big Ten would release a statement if they weren't privy to enough evidence that they could take a PR stand in this case. They could just say no comment and move on and say, well, we're interested to see what the findings in this case are. But if the Big Ten is taking the time out of its day and using its public relations department to back Wisconsin in this scenario,
they think they have something. There's no doubt. You're right about that. They think they do. I just don't know that they do. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I have no idea. But we're talking about enforcement now of all these things where RevSure is legal starting July 1st. And I want to see how many more of these happen, because I contend that, in fact, you're not doing your due diligence. You're not doing your job if you're not actively trying to poach players from other people's rosters.
Yeah,
at all times, because everybody's doing that to you.
One of the key tenets of life: don't be stupid. So don't be stupid in the methods you employ to do so. It sounds like Miami was. Sounds like they were sloppy, and that would be great news for everybody like us.
It would be. But they can't keep the kid. I mean, he just withdrew from school and enrolled at Miami.
I think at this point, it's about the principle of the issue, and you've got somebody who's acting so above.
Yeah,
and beyond.
egregiously, yes. And I wonder what they would win.
Probably cash, and then I don't know. Maybe at that point, Miami gets penalized, and it scares everybody because it's a shot across the bow.
Well, this is what I'm more concerned with, because they're not getting the kid back, and he's going to play at Miami.
Sure.
But what I do want to know is, what is the penalty if they're found liable for this, that they did it? What's the penalty? Is it significant enough that everybody goes, ooh, all right, now let's be careful how we do this. Let's keep doing what we're doing, which is trying to poach players.
Yeah.
But let's be very careful about how we're doing it.
And then under whose purview would that punishment be? Because the sports commission was created after all of this went down. So would it fall back to the NCAA to make one final football ruling? Interesting questions, but Miami's getting dragged here. And there's no way that there's not some sort of compelling evidence that they are looking forward to release to the public.
Yeah, they look, and this goes back to January. Wisconsin released a statement. They accused Miami of tampering, citing credible information, threatened to pursue legal action as a result. They've taken that next step. Ross Dellinger, as I noted in his report for Yahoo Sports, first of its kind, perhaps a precedent-setting move. Wisconsin seeking unspecified damages, transparency, and accountability from Miami for interfering with binding revenue share contract between Xavier Lucas and Wisconsin. He then left the program in January. He transferred without ever entering the transfer portal. It was already closed at that point. And he signed, and this was after he had signed the contract with the Badgers. But he withdrew from school and enrolled at Miami.
I would think from an eligibility standpoint, you might actually have a leg to stand on here to rule this kid ineligible. And I don't really care about
right.
I'm just saying, if he moved schools outside of the portal window, how the hell would he be allowed to play? I mean, you talk about neutering the
What's
process,
the point?
because then the portal wouldn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. Yeah, he found a way around the rules of the transfer portal. He went, requested the transfer. They said no.
Which is what he'll argue is, I followed the protocol, which was I have every right to request a transfer, and they have to follow it. Their compliance department has to allow me into the system. And if they refused, well, then I had to take actions into my own hands. That's his legal defense.
I don't know how the school could keep you from putting your name in the portal during the time in which you're allowed to put your name in the portal. I don't think
they're not allowed to. So somebody, I mean, that Wisconsin in essence would have broken a rule here where somebody told compliance, stand down, don't enter his name.
But there's no way, because Miami has not countered with that claim, nor has the kid or his representatives. Now, maybe they're being told to shut up and lawyers are gotten involved. But what I would say is, Tom, do you think the Big Ten's going to go to bat for Wisconsin if there was evidence that the kid asked to put his name in the portal and they said, you can't, we're not going to, no?
I think they might if the kid's name was on a piece of paper and the Big Ten said, all right, we have enough here to go in this case. We're tired of these circumstances where there are signatures on paper and they don't mean anything. And so because you can prove that there's communication that occurred after you have committed to Wisconsin and signed your name on a piece of paper, and there's outright tampering, let's take a shot in this case and see if we can't clean it up.
Yeah, well, the floodgates will open because look at what we just saw. I mean, kids transfer. How many kids were in the portal? 1,600, whatever. It was an insane number.
For sure. But
every one of them were contacted by schools prior.
Of course they were. The question about this one is, can you prove it? And can you prove timelines relative to a signature on with whatever? I don't think that was a rev share agreement. That was probably a collective agreement, I would assume.
This is a rev share agreement.
Oh, well, then that would fall under College Sports Commission.
That would. This would be the first of its kind.
Okay. So it would be on the new commission to levy the punishment, not the NCAA.
Yeah. Yeah, because that is a binding revenue share contract between Wisconsin and that's what they're alleging.
Okay.
That it was a binding revenue share contract between Wisconsin and Xavier Lucas.
Yeah, now that makes sense. This is something I remember talking to Ingram about a couple of years ago, which is just the general idea of if a kid signs a collective contract, right?
Right.
Let's say he signs with the Battle's End and it's a 3-year deal and he transfers out in 2. Could the Battle's End sue the other collective because they have his rights on a piece of paper? And he said, I don't know that anybody in the industry is going to push it that far. If
it doesn't appear to be binding.
Right.
Yeah, no, the situation that happened in Tennessee with Nico and all that. I mean,
yeah, but if you sign a multi-year agreement, it's like, well, what do you actually forfeit? Could technically a collective say, well, the kid's rights are on this piece of paper. He signed them away. So it's great that he's living in Tennessee, but those payments now come to us. Like, that was the question for the collectives. This, on the other hand, is directly dealing with the university itself.
It's fun. I mean, you do want to start to see some sort of enforcement of some rules that make some sense.
Yeah.
But again, this is where everybody says it. Legally dubious.
Yeah, the most compelling thing I've heard in this whole thing is that the Big Ten was willing to go to bat for him. That they wouldn't do that if they thought Wisconsin's case was weak.
And that Wisconsin was the first of its kind to come forward and say, oh, no, we're not taking this sitting down. We're coming back after you with a legal action. None of the schools have done this. And we've seen clear cases of tampering. I mean, clear cases, and they've all just stood down.
And I'm sure in those circumstances, if Petiti was approached at the Big Ten office, he said, I support you in this room. I could support you with a handshake and a good luck, but I cannot release a statement to support you.
I can support you in this room. That would get him punched in the face. That would be the best.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah. If it means anything to you, on my drive home today, I'll be thinking about you. Thanks. Oh, you're in my thoughts, buddy.
And don't tell me you haven't ever tampered. Click.
Yeah. I mean, thoughts and prayers, Wisconsin. Click. Pitch and Penny Pools and Spas have everything you need for pool maintenance: chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, you name it, they got it. And that includes new cold plunge. I mean, perfectly set up. I mean, you go in and see this thing. Go check out what Hot Springs is doing now that they've entered their name into the business. Now that they care about the cold plunge fitness craze, right? It's you could have just a little tiny spot inside of your house over there. Boop-a-doop. Jump right in every morning, get your day started. Good stuff. Greer Road is the locale. You'll see all the classic Hot Springs hot tubs. They're still taking your trade-ins, coming out, picking it up, giving you money for and towards a new one. But now they got the cold plunges as well. Take a look at it. If it interests you, swing on by the Greer Road facility. It's massive. A lot to choose from, and they make it very, very affordable.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
When you need the plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to wait?
Hey guys, we really need you over here. My toddler just flushed a whole bunch of toys down the toilet and everything, and I mean everything, is backing up.
2 hours?
Hey guys, just checking in. The water has reached the hallway now and it's getting pretty deep. Can you get here anytime soon?
4 hours?
Hey guys, can you please hurry? Now my wiener dog is doing the over here. They're not known to be strong swimmers. Hey honey, grab his life jacket.
8 hours?
Oh, so now you're here.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. Our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. And now M&L Plumbing can also be your go-to for all septic tank pump-out services. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing. Your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or online at mnlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Just in time for summer vacation, get $4,000 bonus cash on Infiniti QX80 and get 2.9% interest for 60 months. It's the luxury SUV that everyone is talking about. And this is the best month ever to step up to QX80 at Infiniti of Tallahassee.
This week's Legacy Moment brought to you by Cornerstone Memorials remembers Officer Miguel Santiago, a beloved member of the Tallahassee Police Department. Known for mentoring teens and walking neighborhood beats with purpose and pride, Officer Santiago believed policing was about presence, not power. After his sudden passing in 2022, hundreds attended his vigil. His dedication lives on in the Explorer program he helped launch for local youth. We salute Officer Santiago, a true hometown hero. This has been a Legacy Moment, honoring the lives that shape Tallahassee. Sponsored by Cornerstone Memorial, helping families honor their loved ones with dignity and care. Find out more online at cornerstonememorials.org. Do you know of a Tallahassee legacy that should be shared? Text the word legacy to 850-386-8255 to submit your story for the Cornerstone Memorials Legacy Moment.
The 4th of July is more than a celebration. It's a reminder what freedom really means. It means we have a responsibility to stay prepared, stay strong, and stay independent, no matter what the future brings. That's why My Patriot Supply is running their 4th of July sale with huge savings on emergency food kits, solar power systems, water filtration, and more. From solar generators to long-term food storage that lasts 25 years, every item is made to help Americans take care of their own without waiting on FEMA or the power company. Shop the sale now at mypatriotsupply.com/radio and save big on all things preparedness. My Patriot Supply is American-owned, American-operated, and proud to support the self-reliant spirit that made this country great. Don't wait. Shop mypatriotsupply.com/radio to stock up during the 4th of July sale. That's mypatriotsupply.com/radio, because real freedom starts with being ready.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Our friends at ISF, we're solving for the future. We're doing it right now. We do every week, thanks to our friends at ISF, who not only work with companies, businesses, state governments, all that here in Florida, but in 40 states. They're nationwide, everybody. But locally, they like to help out and have helped out with numerous organizations that we're directly involved with, whether that's fighting hunger with the Second Harvest of the Big Bend, whether that is helping kids and representing them get a fair shake in the court system with the guardian ad litem, important things. And ISF helps out with those groups as well. And they are here doing business with us, which we always appreciate. And we're actually going to solve for the future with a question that's in the chat. Tom, you brought it to my attention. What's the question from Ric Flair here?
Oh, yeah. So Ric Flair is asking for some advice.
He wants an opinion, right?
Yes. This is as it pertains to some travel. And there it is. It's up on the screen now.
Booked flights to Vegas. Used points. Got an offer to upgrade the three of us for the outbound leg to sit first class. $380 a piece, so $1,100. Already in an emergency row exit. How long is that flight?
That's probably like 3.5.
If you're an emergency road exit, I'm saving the cache on the upgrade and spending it on gambling. It's not bad. You're already in an emergency row exit, buddy. You're going to be fine.
That's 4 hours, 40 minutes. But I would agree with you. As somebody who's done a lot of first-class flying, hoity-toity stuff.
I like first-class flying as much as the next guy, but if I'm going from Tallahassee to Los Angeles, maybe.
Yeah, but just the extra $380 a piece, $1,100.
Yeah, it's $1,100 you could be spending at the tables.
Typically, flights out to Vegas include free booze.
And they're great.
And it's off the books. It's never mentioned, but it's like, hey, does anybody want to? I've had that happen
Many
3 or 4 times.
Oh, it's incredible.
So at that point, the only thing that you're getting is priority boarding. I mean, the space in the exit row is the key. You save the $380. If you have to spend $20 in the flight for a couple of rounds of drinks, so be it.
Well, there is a caveat. Rick just added to it. I like it. I didn't know you were 6'5", good sir, and your sons are all over 6'3". That's a toughie. Look, I always book. I am not 6'5", but I always book the extra leg room in the emergency exit row. Any smart man does. Hell, if you're over 5'9", you should, right? Because it's not like you got a lot of room with plane seats, but 6'5" is a different animal. And I don't know if the exit row does it for you, but golly, it is. You are already going to be boozing a little bit, and you got the exit row. $1,100 is a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time in Vegas.
I think it comes down to, would you rather go to a dinner?
A really good dinner.
Yeah. Or have the leg room so that your knees and your joints don't hurt.
Now, obviously, Ric Flair, if money's no object, you wouldn't have asked the question. You would have already booked first class, and it wouldn't have been something you ever even thought about.
Yeah.
So it clearly matters. I mean, I'm not trying to impugn. I'm saying like it clearly, the $1,100 clearly matters to you. You're thinking about it.
I'm a little disappointed though, because he should be a Rolex wearing, kiss stealing, limousine
alligator
riding,
shoes,
right? Private jet flying,
all of it. I'm gonna go ahead and sit in the exit row and the emergency exit row and have some drinks and take it to Vegas. And Ric Flair agrees. $1,100, man. That's and if you win a few hands with that, we're doing some things.
Actually,
now we're doing some things.
Why don't you just take the 1,100, put it on black, and close your eyes?
It's actually more fun than the upgrade.
It is, totally.
I mean, that'll be more fun than the upgrade.
Let your boys tell you what happened.
Just let it ride. Here we go. I follow this guy on Instagram, Tom, that I can't remember his name, but he's a heavy hitter in Vegas, and he's a professional gambler. And for giggles, he will do this thing where he'll take a video, and he'll be like, all right, we got $12,000, kids. Let's go. And he'll walk in, and he'll be like, bet $12,000, 5 hands, blackjack. Let's see what we come away with or what we don't. And you're just watching it play out. I've watched him lose all $12,000 like that. I've seen him quadruple it like that. And it's just hilarious. He's like, here we go. Okay. All right. We're up to $24,000. Let's put 15 of it right now, right here. Let's go. And then when it starts happening, you're like, oh, it's happening. He's up to $200,000. And then you're like, quick, I better exit off of this. I don't need to see this. But all it takes is for you to watch the one time that he goes and sits down and he's like, all right, we'll put 6,000 down. Here we go. And he loses it. And you're like, okay, we're going to double down. Let's do it again. And he loses it. And we're done here.
Yeah, right.
And we're done here.
That's the whole thing. Does he have the strength to get up and leave? Some people don't.
Right.
Some people, when they're down, it's almost like they want to lose more.
Certainly helps. He's obviously worth millions because you wouldn't do any of that if you weren't. But
it's $20.
Yeah, it's but it is exhilarating. Even when somebody else's money, you're like, oh, got a feeling the juice is here. Here we go. Let's go. I people love craps. I think you like craps, right?
Yeah, I'm hot and cold on it.
Well, the thing is, it's a quick way to make a lot of money. It's a quick way to lose a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's very quick one way or the other.
Now, when we were in New Orleans years ago before the LSU game, I got wiped out in one hand in poker because I had the top 2 pair, and this person flopped a set.
Nice. Nice.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Top 2 pair, and the set was on like a 3 or something instead of 3s and like ace 10.
Did you start laughing?
I did, and I waited for an hour for that seat at the table. And look, it's a cash game, so if you're gonna get something like that, you better act
right.
So I went to the blackjack tables and I made all of it back plus a little profit.
There we go.
That's why I like blackjack.
I do too. I'll sit there blackjack for hours.
Yeah. The older I get, the more I've been taken by blackjack.
Yeah.
And then sports gambling.
The sports book is, yeah. Going out, you need to go out to Circa. You've not been to Circa yet.
I've not.
When you go to Circa, Tom, I want you to go. You're gonna have so much fun. You're gonna go, I've died and gone to heaven. It is unbelievable.
Did you make time for a few hours to sit there?
Not a few, about an hour and a half.
Okay.
And I regretted it. I would have stayed much longer. It was I was with my wife. It wasn't that kind of. We were at the Sphere to see U2 and all that. It wasn't. Right. But
Eddie was there.
Eddie was there. That's correct. And but we did go over to Circa because I wanted to see. I wanted to see the VEASAN setup. I wanted to see where they were broadcasting from, which overlooks the main sports book, which is tiered. It's several levels up. And like in their studio, which is walled off and it's clear, you can see them in there broadcasting with the equipment and all of that. And then you can see what they see, which is why they always have their eye towards every event that's happening around the world in real time. So it's pretty incredible. Like, you know how I like to bet the table tennis all the time. I mean, they sit there and watch it. I'm like, oh, okay, it's on right now. And Markov is facing Popov, and here we go.
The battle of bad vodka.
It's comical, but yeah, I would be like, oh, look at this. I'm going to watch it as I have $100 on Markov.
I got in to the tail end of the era where the free drinks were not marked, but now I think they mark it per ticket, don't they? In terms of the sports book, like if you have an active ticket that they haven't put their pen on.
I don't think they did that with me.
Oh, excuse me.
I don't know. I don't think they did, but you may be right. Maybe they should have. I don't. You also at the Circa, you can sit up there at the bar as long as you're playing the game. It's free all day.
What was that?
Yeah.
Be careful you don't have somebody fall into you.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. That was rich. My friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned organization that specializes in payments and business solutions. That is what they do. It is true. Whether that's ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, hosted payment solutions. They do these things. I've told you about that before, and I've talked about why it is you'd want to switch and go with Tried and True. These are Noles. These are guys helping out their fellow Noles and giving to the battle's end. 10% of their net revenue going to the battle's end. That's reason enough. Scan that QR code. Do the ad boards, menu boards, all that stuff. I've mentioned that. Invoicing, mobile, all of the things that you associate with a business solutions company. Give them a call today. 844-464-6653. Scan that QR code. You see that. It's on your screen right now. Make it happen. Tried and True Consulting.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance of thunderstorms today. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. High temperatures reach up to 94. Northwesterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Slight chance for storms tonight. Lows around 75. Mainly clear skies. Storms likely tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 94. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 83.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Hey, Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. You two at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Jeff.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I was about to laugh right when we came back from break, just thinking of how absurd it is what we just watched. Yeah, Matt brought up the rooftop pool sports book. You know, the problem with
Yes, I do.
Any of the pool stuff.
Yep.
Mm-mm.
That's correct.
Yeah. I'm not getting in the pool.
Why?
We don't need to be by the pool.
Yeah,
there's plenty of good viewing by the pool, but we don't need to be by.
That's wonderful.
Pool.
You could go to the pool bar and look around at the pool.
Sure. Yeah, you can do that.
You can live that cabana life if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I'm not getting in the pool.
Yeah.
It just thought of it.
Yeah. No. I agree.
It's like every time we're doing shows from Hotel Indigo, we look around. Whatever that place is there in College Town for all the kiddos with the pool.
No. Recess.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Day one, I was like, nope. No, that's a young man's game and a young gal's game, but it's gross whether you're young or old. People are always in that pool.
Yeah, you're going to walk up the steps 4 stories high and then disrobe so that you can jump in the pool.
Well, it's not even that. It's like
with 5 other frat bros within a 6-foot radius. Oh man,
I know how you're already flipping out about that, but
I'm just saying
there's a lot of.
I don't like people in my space in general, let alone in the pool. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. By the way, I wasn't surprised to see this. I did want to make mention of it, and I hope they get this fixed because you and I love the sport. We didn't love the result, but we love the sport, and I don't know why, as it's continued to be great year in and year out. It's not like how there's been a stretch in both the NBA and before Major League Baseball made the rules changes. Diehard fans of both those leagues would commit to having those larger conversations about the ills of the game, the things that are plaguing the sport. So in baseball, it was always about the games are taking 4.5 hours, guys stepping out of the box, rules aren't enforced in terms of pitching in a timely fashion, stepping off the mound in between every pitch. People got angry, legitimately angry. It affected viewership. It affected attendance. So baseball had to do something about it. They listened to their fans, and they listened to some of the players and administrators and obviously groups that they had come in and advise them. And they said, we promise you're going to get a better product and more people are going to watch. Well, it's worked. It's worked. And they're setting records again, and they're doing great things. In the NBA, people are tired of load management. They hate load management. They're like, wait a minute. all the superstars of yesteryear played every effing night, and they weren't having to sit out 30 games a year and not play. Can you imagine telling Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, just take a Tuesday off. Screw these paying customers who came all this way to see you, Dr. J. Don't worry about it. Your ham's still a little tight. Take the day. Never. All right, people hate that, and they hate all the threes. So this is being discussed. All the stuff is discussed. Now, they can't do much about the threes just yet because there's nothing illegal about that, and playing 5 out is not as fun as perhaps for those of us who grew up in a game in which there was center, they're anchoring the middle, and the kickouts and all those things to create ISO. But these are all, and sports are all, the NFL does it. They do it really well for the most part. They're always constantly having to assess. Well, the NHL is going to have to do something because their ratings for this playoffs and the Stanley Cups, not just the Stanley Cup final, which was kind of a dud, the playoffs, and many of these games were great. I mean, we saw a lot of overtime hockey, Tom, a lot of overtime hockey. And it did worse than the Four Nations.
Oh, yeah, but that makes sense.
Way worse.
The Olympics always has outdrawn the Stanley Cup as well.
Well, the Olympics are once every 4 years. I mean, come on, man. That is the overall cable number was down over 4 million from last year. They got a problem.
Well, they do. There's no crescendo to the playoffs. You have heavyweight fights in the first round that should never take place in the first round. So there's this vacuum effect where the second round, you end up like the NFL wild card weekend's usually the dud weekend, right? Even when they make it super wild card weekend, you're hoping for 1 or 2 good games from Saturday to Monday. Just give me 1 or 2. And please give me 1 a day. How about 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday? And we all know in the second quarter of a wild card game, we're like, well, this is the time I can go to the store. This is the time
I know what's happening.
Right, I know what's about to happen here. Well, with hockey, it's the inverse. Like the NFL wildcard weekend, no good. Second weekend, divisional weekend of the NFL playoffs is always the best. Oh, it's great. Hockey lately, with the way that they bracket out the playoffs. First round, awesome. Second round, dud. Third round, hold on for dear life because oftentimes you have a boring conference final and then you get another boring final. They need to seed 1 through 8. If they seed 1 through 8, they'll solve some of these ratings problems.
I also think they need to be more easily found. I don't think it does them any good to not be like, hey, can we tune into just NBC, just ABC, just ESPN?
Yeah, I mean, it's better than it used to be. NBC Sports was unfindable. People do know where TNT is on the dial. They generally do know that versus NBC Sports.
I do think it hurts. Well, yeah, during the course of the playoffs, they move things around so often. You're like, I don't know where anything is.
Yes, they probably should stick one series on one network. They probably should, because in the first couple of rounds, you'd have ESPN Game 1, TNT Game 2, 3, ESPN Game 4, ESPN 2 Game 5. Yeah, they could do better with that, and then just assign a series to a network. Because that's, I mean, TBS and Fox, to my recollection, don't ever shuffle a Major League Baseball division series. Like it's either TBS or Fox.
Where to find it. Yeah. You find it on day one. It's going to be there for the next game. And
the same announcers for all 5 games.
That is correct. That's what I mean. Consistency. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, some sort of consistency would help them.
It's like, you get McDonough for game 1, Kenny Albert for game 2, a guy you never heard of for game 3. I'm like, okay, awesome. Well, apparently in game 1, if you were call the whole series, you would know that in game 1.
Yeah, no, it is frustrating. I just hate it. It's such a great sport. We don't spend, too much time on it, but it's frustrating. Funny though, in my lifetime of covering sports, I've watched so many of the leagues have their ups and downs and find a way out of deep holes and then be back on top. And it's Florida Man in Alabama. Who has worse viewership numbers, NBA or NASCAR? Oh, NASCAR by far. NASCAR has taken a beating. You have diehard loyalists to NASCAR, just as every sport does. But no, NASCAR's ratings are not good.
Very quickly, here's another reason why hockey's ratings are not great this playoff. All right, so the first round, we all know that there's a couple heavyweight matchups. So that means on a given night, you've got a game that's worth watching, just as a casual fan. There's some game that's on, you're like, okay, that's a good one. The second round matchups, Winnipeg, Dallas, yuck. Vegas, Edmonton, yuck. Toronto, Florida, half good. and then Washington, Carolina, no good.
Well, Toronto, Florida did go 7, right?
It did, but from a rating standpoint, you need New York, Philadelphia, or Boston to be involved in these rounds in order, or the Kings to be involved. It would help if Colorado, I know that Matt was watching the show, he's a big Dallas fan, help if Colorado make the second round because they should be seeded 1 through 8, which means they'll make it to the second round. But those 8 teams that are left, buddy.
Oh, well, they caught a bad break this year. There's no doubt. That wasn't ideal.
Florida, Carolina for the Eastern Finals. I didn't watch 1 second of it. I know what's going to happen in that series.
And Carolina, just stop. Reconfigure, boys. I mean, every year you make the playoffs and get pasted.
I love the sport. That series, I should have bet it because to go 5, I think, was 8-1, something like that. People are saying it's going to be Florida and 7. Like 7. What are you smoking?
I thought it would be a sweep. And it was a gentleman's sweep.
It was.
It should have been a sweep, period. They were up 3-0. They're like, yeah.
A terribly uninteresting series.
Unfortunately, I don't know they can do much with that. Carolina just gets pasted when they face anybody any good. That's like they're going to have to. I mean, we've seen teams like that before. Good enough in a regular season, the way that they're built, right, to win a lot of games. You're not going to win anything. Florida had to learn, just as the Lightning had to learn, how to change their style of play.
Correct.
And and to Florida's credit, they learned. And then this is not docking Florida. This is actually complimentary. We had to learn it the hard way. You can win a ton of games. You can win the President's Cup. You can do all these things and then get into a playoff series where somebody is specifically planning for you over a 7-game series and take away the thing you do best, and all of the things that allowed you to win a bunch of regular season games is negated, and you're not tough enough, and all of a sudden you're swept like Columbus did to Tampa Bay and like we did to Florida. And then Florida went, okay, we won a lot of regular season games, going to have to figure it out.
And look, yes, you're right. A lot of these games as they're played, if you don't look at the laundry, are very interesting. Like I'm sure that your son would tell me about how cool Oklahoma City and Indiana's been. Really, Thunder and Pacers?
Well,
that doesn't do it for me.
Nationally, it doesn't do it for you. And stylistically, there are some problems in this series. But anyhow.
But I get it from a different sports perspective. I'm a hockey fan. I'm going to watch most of these, except for Florida, Carolina. But, the people, the franchises that have been failing the NHL from a ratings perspective for years, Philadelphia, they haven't been good in forever. Detroit hasn't been good in 10, 15 years.
Detroit's on the come, though. They're on the come.
The Yzer plans take a little longer than they expected.
A little longer than they expected, yep.
The Rangers have been there recently. That's nice. They weren't there this year. Chicago had their run, and they're paying the price for it.
Dearly.
Pittsburgh's paying the price.
I mean, dearly, Tom.
Yeah,
Chicago has gone from dominant, best team in hockey, incredible run that is very similar to that of what the Lightning and the Panthers just did, to, good God, man.
Right. I think with Turner Sports and ESPN, if you had 2 of Chicago, Detroit, Rangers, or Boston into the Final Four, they wouldn't be having this discussion. It's just that there are so few franchises that draw big national numbers.
And hockey is a lot like baseball in the sense that all of these things have become community games. They're very community-oriented. It is less of a national draw and more of a community draw. That's why we saw all those numbers for years be so good with, like, the Rays. Their attendance numbers were dreadful, but their cable numbers were huge. They did very, very well, and that's what allowed them to kind of survive. Saw that in a lot of different markets where it is unique to that community. It's one of the things I like about baseball, too. You sense that when you go into stadiums. You can feel that.
Hey, man, this time next week. Almost time for the gates to open at PNC.
Buddy.
I already looked at the weather window.
Oh, well, we're a full week out. Can you trust it?
No, but I'd still like to do it.
What was it?
Warm?
Yeah. It's the dead of summer.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Up in New York, the summers are delightful. 88, 90 degree highs, 72 in the morning.
You watch. When it's 88 and not humid, we're going to walk around like we're in heaven compared to what we've got down here.
100%. 100%. I would imagine it's a very different feeling 88. The sun's not as intense up there, too.
We're going to have fun. It's going to be a good time.
Flying first class.
We are flying.
Rick.
We are flying first class. And I've got some places that I'm like, oh, you're going to like this. And you're like this. I was actually talking about it with Christy last night. We were kind of going through it. She's like, oh, you should take him here. Take him here. I'm like, oh, don't worry.
All right.
We're going.
What kind of cuisines?
Well, you and I are going to go get a great steak somewhere at one point. So that's just, I mean, look, that's a given. Pittsburgh doesn't have anything all that, Panani Brothers are obviously unique, but
I know, but
beyond that,
maybe you found a great taco place or something like that.
No. Plenty of great taco places out in California, plenty of great taco places in Texas, plenty of great taco places in the state of Florida, but
there's no Pittsburgh barbecue.
You're not like, no, it's not like going to Kansas City or St. Louis or Memphis or anything like that. You're just kind of like, there's good food. There's good food.
They don't have that Connecticut brick oven pizza style.
No.
Like Northeasterners know about some pizza up there.
No, there's no like, oh my God, have you ever had Pittsburgh pizza?
That's right.
No.
But steaks are prepared Pittsburgh style. So I would imagine that's the standard up there. The searing and all that.
Yes, there's plenty of searing. But it's a steakhouse. They're going to do it however you want to do it. So you're going to be good. They're not like, well, we don't do that here, sir. We do it the Pittsburgh way.
We only do Pittsburgh.
It's just like, okay.
There's like, localism instead of nationalism.
Right.
It's like Pittsburgh only.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh first.
I'm visiting from out of town. I can't.
Welcome to Pittsburgh First Steakhouse. Where are you from, foreigner?
There's not going to be any of that. You're going to find Pittsburgh delightful, sir. Delightful. My friends at Factor, also delightful and really convenient. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals ready in just 2 minutes. I had one today, running out the door. Realized that I hadn't eaten. I got busy. Wanted something tasty. Wanted something smart. Wanted something protein-packed. Walked out, got it. Boom, out the door. You could do the same for Protein Plus, Calorie Smart, Keto, Vegetarian, you name it. Whatever the lifestyle you want, they got for you. And it is as convenient as anything I've ever had in terms of a regular subscription, knowing that I can count on something, trust something, and that it's going to be ready quickly, taste great, and be nutritious. It is all of those things. I use Factor in my family, in my household, for my family. I would like you to give it a try and save money on me. It's a good thing. Get started right now at factormeals.com/Cameron50 off. Use code Cameron50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code Cameron50 off at factormeals.com/Cameron50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/Cameron50 off. Tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions. Allow me to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometexsolutionsllc.com.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Scotty Scheffler, Austin Eckroat tied atop the leaderboard of the Travelers Championship at TPC River Highlands, both at 8 under par for a 2-shot lead. Scheffler the minus 140 favorite to win it. Eckroat 25-1. Atlanta Braves today have Didier Fuentes on the mound at Lone Depot Park against the Marlins and Yuri Perez. Braves are another 44 road favorite. Shane Bond's on the hill today for the Tampa Bay Rays, minus 112 against Jack Flaherty of the Tigers, minus 108. Danny Hamlin, the plus 450 favorite to win the NASCAR Cup race at Pocono Sunday. The Great American Getaway 400. Kyle Larson plus 550. $250 bonus and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Summer days just got even brighter with Kohl's epic deals. Get this. You can score tees for just $5.99. Bedding for 60% off. Comfy shorts only $7.99. And so much more. You do not want to miss out. Shop Kohl's epic deals for savings on all things summer now, before it's too late. Flex styles. Some exclusions apply. Offer ends June 22nd. See store at Kohl's.com for details.
Ooh, what was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to handle the busy holiday season, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing, NMLS 373031.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sixty-three days, 21 hours, 53 minutes, 36 seconds until the start of college football. 63 days. Today's Friday. It's next week that I'm able to say these words to you in the 50s. What I'm talking about coincides with the story I was just reading during the break. College football. Proposal now on the table to turn the early week 0 window for select games into the new start of the season. I knew this was coming. You did too, and we talked about it less than 4 days ago, and now it's been proposed. It's going to happen. Moving the season up for 1 week for all teams, not just those who obtain a waiver for an early start, as we did last year to go over to Ireland, which good time until the result. Good time. And I'd be up for playing a game like that. I don't think Mike Norvell ever liked the idea. Cemented forevermore will be the loathing he feels for that week 0 game, I'm guessing.
Well, that's the least of his concerns because
agreed.
A lot of pooch screwing before that.
Yes. So what you do is, look, you don't have to have that waiver. College football season would get a 12th week as soon as 2026. It would also give teams an option for an additional bye week during the season. The discussion about that start to the season comes as a change to the college football playoff format, which has been tabled for now after moving to a 12-team playoff. Postseason could expand to 16 soon, very soon, with 5 automatic qualifiers, 11 at large. We've had this discussion as well. But the SEC and the Big Ten and everybody else can't get along right now and can't get that figured out. They don't have forever. It's tabled, but they got to know by December the 1st. So that should get done. Probably will, but for now they're bickering.
I would think that this would be in everybody's best interest. I don't know.
Agreed.
I've read the literature of which you're citing from. The FCS is going to do it sooner. And that opens the door, though, because a lot of FBS teams, power teams, if they're going to play an FCS group, they would want to do it that first week of the season, week 0, if you will.
So let's say week 0 is now the start of college football season. So then would the week before be in play for what would be the new week 0? And that would just be week 1. We just moved the season up.
That would be interesting because there could be an argument that since this would create a minimum of 2 bye weeks a year, no matter what the calendar does. Correct. Some years you get 2, and last year we got 3.
3 didn't do us any good.
Didn't do us any good.
No. We had more time to contemplate the ass kickings.
They might tell you that you're going to get at minimum 2. You have to use one the week after you go to Ireland or you go play in England or wherever. Because I hear there's talk of expansion into other countries for college football as well, beyond Ireland.
Well,
England being one of them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So
rather go to Ireland.
Me too. England's not bad.
No, it's fine. It's fine. New start date proposal would move Labor Day weekend to the 2nd week of the season. 4 games scheduled for this week 0 this year in the countdown that I'm talking about, week 0, August 23rd.
I would think that would create a scenario by which coaches would be more aggressive in their week to scheduling, their Labor Day weekend scheduling. It already is usually fairly aggressive, but I would think you could get some park your ass guarantees moving forward if they all get a tune-up in that first game.
Yeah, I was talking to my dad this morning, and I don't know if you saw. I think I want to credit him, even though I don't like him. I think it was Stuart Mandel got asked a question in a mailbag for college football about if you could only use each stadium once, pick the best game of the week every week of the season to attend. But you can only go to, so if you go to the Horseshoe for Texas, Ohio State in the first week, which you would, you can't go back. Now, it helps that Ohio State plays Michigan at the end of the year in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, and they usually only have 2 games a year. Although the new Big Ten should help with that. They had Oregon last year.
And I give them credit. They're not afraid. I mean, they play people. You're getting Texas this year. You had Oregon, as you said, last year. So, but yeah, I think that's a fun exercise to do, by the way. And we want to get to that place, desperately want to get to that place where every week there are, look, if we end up with a 16-team playoff and in the SEC, Tom, none of us are going to be mad if our schedule resembles that of this year's University of Florida schedule again.
Yeah, no, then, a loss doesn't matter as much, but it hasn't mattered to the SEC nearly as much as it has to us for a long time. But yet, then you just look at the game for what it is. Yes, you take away the life or death to it, but now the travel, everybody becomes a little bit more peaceful as they go from vista to vista.
Well, I did it this morning. I was going through all these because one of the games I wanted to go to, if I were just picking these games to attend, I would attend the night game because LSU it's just a place. You got to go to a game at LSU if you haven't been. So you take it to Death Valley for Florida LSU September 13th at 7:30 p.m.
The 13th?
September the 13th.
That's our bye week.
So you and I could be in attendance in Baton Rouge if you'd like, sir. And if anybody wanted to give us an LSU shirt to don that day, I suppose we'd wear that. So, by the way, you want to do this again? Last year we did it. We were way wrong. They went 7-5. So they got LIU August 30th, does Florida. Then it's South Florida, USF, and September the 6th. Then they play at LSU, and thus begins the romp. It's LSU, followed by Miami in Miami, followed by hosting Texas.
Oh, my God. Did they get a bye in between those?
They have September 13th, September 20th, October 4th. They got a bye in between.
It's before Texas.
It's still brutal.
It is.
I mean, imagine that's the stretch. Florida State against LSU on the road, Florida State against Miami on the road, then we're hosting Texas.
If we were where Florida is now with that quarterback, though, I don't think it's nuts to suggest you could win 2 out of those 3.
That's the way you're hoping to go at it. But, I mean, Texas is your preseason favorite to win the national title. Road games at night in Baton Rouge don't fare well for most people, so you got to go down to Miami and win.
Correct, but Brian Kelly has done some special things at LSU. Special nothings.
They're at Texas A&M following that game. Then they host Mississippi State. Then it's the Florida-Georgia game over in Jacksonville. Then they're at Kentucky. Then they're at Ole Miss. Then they host Tennessee. And then they host Florida State.
That's right. Tennessee got moved off the early spot.
November 22nd.
Yeah.
It's the week before they play us.
That's something. Jeez, Lou.
Well, if we've got our ducks in a row, we might be all right there. That's a tough to go on the road against Ole Miss, come home and host Tennessee, and then turn around and face Florida State. Buddy, that's kind of a kick in the boys.
It is. Yeah, the week before we go, obviously, to NC State, and we host Virginia Tech the week before that. So, yes, we will be on better footing than Florida.
You would think.
For that game.
You would think.
Yeah.
If we aren't,
It doesn't. I'm not talking about the aptitude. I'm just talking about the the rest factor and or the beaten up factor.
It's a fun deal. I mean, we are, once again, in June, we start looking look, Texas out the gates with Ohio State at noon in Columbus. Then they got San Jose State. That was smart. Then they got UTEP. That was smart. Sam Houston. That was smart. But then it's at Florida. Then it's Texas, Oklahoma, Texas at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, hosting Vanderbilt, at Georgia, and Arkansas. And then they host Texas A&M.
Man, that's going to be hard for them to go 9-3 this year. That's going to be very hard for them to lose 3 games. That's laid out nicely.
It lays out nicely, but you're on the road between the hedges against Georgia. I don't know. We'll see what Oklahoma is, because that is a huge rivalry game, obviously, as we well know. Both those teams have beaten the other when the other was the better.
Sure. Yeah.
So that is hard. At Florida, not an easy place to play. We know that. Florida's got a good quarterback. I imagine that's going to be a road night game. We'll see. It's in October. At Ohio State, I don't know. That's yes, they did a good job of softening the blow of opening with a road game against Ohio State.
That Florida game basically starts their second season. You know, the Ohio State and then tune up by Florida. That's nice. Or 3 tune-ups.
It's 3 tune-ups. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, good Lord. They will be ready for Florida.
Will be ready.
Florida will be coming off a bye, but Florida will have been, brutalized a little bit, tested.
Yeah, the fun of that is to then now reverse it. Go with Miami and look at their schedule. Ooh. Obviously, we know ours, but
Notre Dame out the gate.
Bethune-Cookman, who they'll handle. South Florida, who they'll handle. But then it's Florida. They're hosting that game. Then they're on the road against us, hosting Louisville, always well coached. They get to host Stanford, but they're on the road against SMU. Then they're hosting Syracuse, whom they couldn't beat a year ago with the number 1 draft pick in the nation at quarterback.
They'll win that game in front of 10,000 fans, I think.
Maybe. They're hosting NC State. They're on the road at Virginia Tech. And then they're on the road in late November against Pitt.
So their opportunities to lose all come in the first 8 games of the season.
Well, obviously, Notre Dame is, yes. Notre Dame's
they
problem.
should lose that game. Miami should. They could win it, but they should lose that game, right?
Yeah, who knows what the Florida-Miami game is, because Florida got killed by Miami last year, humiliated in that game. And if you remember, Miami not only ran it up, but talked to the recruits and all that. That will be a blood war. That's going to be fun. That will be circled by Florida. And then they turn right. You know, very underrated aspect in this is that they're playing them, and I know they have the bye, but they're playing them and then us. If you think about it, in terms of the history of college football in this state, now it's happened before, but it is pretty damn rare to have Florida and then, if you're Miami, Florida and then Florida State back to back.
Yeah, that doesn't
happen.
It's happened to us a couple of times.
To us. I was in attendance for the 14-9 loss in Gainesville right after losing to Miami the penultimate week.
Yeah, a couple of times in the early 2010s, we had 14 days separating those 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember playing Miami in November a couple of times. And then you get your FCS tune-up in between. Yeah, the good thing about our, Miami does have the bye week lead into us. At least we have the extra day, because we play Virginia on ACC high school football Friday nights on the road in Charlottesville. So you do get 1 extra day after playing Virginia.
Have you ever been to the game in Charlottesville?
No. Mm-mm.
Charlottesville I like. Surrounding areas not so much, but I like Charlottesville, and the stadium's whatever. It's okay, but it's a quaint little area. We should take it on up there.
Man. This is the time of the summer where it's like we're going to go on like 7 roadies, and then you get to the season, you're like, nah, man. If I could be at home and it'd be quiet, because the Virginia game where I'm spoken for, I don't know about you, we got a wedding in Tampa the next day.
That is the problem. We were going to the same wedding. I've already RSVP'd.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. I did it the day I got it.
Okay.
I even received a text from our mutual friend who was shocked to see that I had already RSVP'd.
Is it Flag Day?
It was. She was stunned when I RSVP'd. Well, good on you, Cameron. This is crazy. So before we break, normally I do this later in the show, but I'll do it now. I don't know how I missed this story late last month into early this month, but 10 gold bracelets, 17 cigar cases, a powder compact, comb, and a whopping 598 gold coins. The items all part of a valuable and somewhat mysterious stash found by chance for 2 hikers on vacation. Damn it, man. One of these days, Tommy. The hikers, who wish to remain anonymous, We're taking a shortcut through the forest in the Kirkenes Mountains, a popular hiking spot in northeastern Czech Republic, when they saw an aluminum box sticking out of a stony wall.
Oh, my God.
Come on, man. They opened it, discovered the loot, took it to the Museum of Eastern Bohemia. The head of the archaeological department at the museum, Miroslav Novak, took a look at it and said, okay. He happened to be a coin expert as well. They then realized that it was worth hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was one of the coins is dated back to only 1921, so it wasn't just that, they weren't ancient coins, but they were gold coins is what they were. And they believe that it might have had to do with a turbulent period, World War II, heading towards World War II, at some point in their population leaving for the border area and fleeing and hiding loot. It's about $400,000.
It's a good hike.
Greatest hike anybody's ever taken. This is on the heels of the story that somebody found another Van Gogh in a just garage sale. Same thing. I almost sent that link to you. Guy was like, this looks like a Van Gogh. I mean, it's the same style and everything, but it has to be a knockoff. There's no way. $5. This particular painting was known by Van Gogh experts, and it had never been found. Nobody knew where it was. They knew it existed. And there was a search, an active search for this particular painting. It was in a damn, Lewiston, Maine front yard of this dude's house. How?
It's because
worth millions.
Granny or grandpa who were gifted that lost their marbles before they could tell the kids what was hanging up in their living room for 50 years.
Just so impressive, man. One of these days, I'm going to have this happen to me. Baseball cards, some sort of crazy thing. I've desperately wanted it to. I don't know why it bothers me the way that it does, but it does.
You're going to be 90-something when it happens.
Oh,
and you'll
yeah.
be like, at least it did.
It did happen. That shoelace, I knew it was something. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey man, have you heard about the Tampering Jewelry is the best in town? Rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. And Tampering Jewelry.
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pentalpha and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem, serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now, sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalpha.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. We want to help put your family in a new car before your summer vacation. If you haven't already heard, listen to this. We reduced the price of the 2025 model Rogue and Pathfinder SUVs by close to $2,000 per model. Let me say that again. Our 2025 Nissan Rogue and Pathfinders are flying off the lot because they are truly priced below last year's MSRP. Rogue now starts under $29,000 and Pathfinder under $37,000. There's more. Buy either one of them and get 0% interest for 60 months. Don't worry about tariffs. Nissan makes most of our vehicles right here in the USA, and that's why our cars cost less than last year. Thinking electric? Try Nissan Aria, our top-selling all-electric SUV, or test drive Nissan Leaf, the lowest-priced EV in America. Because this month, they both have 0%, not for 60 months, but for up to 72 months. So why not vacation in a brand-new car with 0% financing and prices lower than last year? Don't think about it. Do it. Put your family in a brand-new car because this is the perfect time, and Kraft Nissan is the perfect place to buy your next car.
Do you own a timeshare Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-298-5026. 800-298-5026. 800-298-5026. That's 800-298-5026.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places that I love to shop. Get it with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
By the way, Tom, I did find out exactly what that money that I could not give you an answer to last hour regarding Missouri now that my headphones just broke.
Oh, no.
Yeah, good times.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, it's
a little snappity-doo.
Snappity-doo right here while I'm trying to talk. That's great. Good stuff. I'll get it fixed in a moment. $31.7 million is what Missouri spent on NIL. The figure includes a hefty sum that was spent just last month. Per the documents and invoices from the Mizzou-focused NIL collective, Every True Tiger. In 2024, Missouri spent nearly 2/3 of those dollars on football, 25% on men's basketball. So there it is.
Yeah, makes sense. Basketball. Yeah, no. Do you want me to deliver one to you? You want to talk and I'll deliver one off camera? Oh, you can't hear me now. Okay, so one of the keys to Tampa Bay's
We're good. I've got it fixed. We're all good. Yeah, so they're $31.7 million. That's collective, so that's allegedly what's going away, but we don't think is.
Yeah. No, on a booster call, we'll tell you everything's fine, and then we get to the moment like, I'm not so sure about this whole enforcement thing, everybody. Right? I'm telling you, what that thing did was raise the salaries of your slightly above replacement level players. The right guard just got richer for this settlement. I don't know that anybody else got any poorer just yet.
And I was waiting on this next development, and every day that we're on the air, something sometimes big, sometimes relatively inconsequential, and everything in between is what's happening at warp speed right now in college athletics. One of the things as gamblers that we've wanted to know about is if you're going to take the money and allow for the advertising, which they do, at some point, you're going to have to abide by those rules, which is that the NFL, for example, injury reports required. Big deal. College football playoff will require teams to provide player availability reports beginning this year.
For playoff games.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
All right.
It will follow in the footsteps of the Big Ten and the SEC. The college football playoff will begin requiring teams to provide player availability reports for its games next year, following a similar initiative implemented by the Big Ten and the SEC. CFP Executive Director Rich Clark announced the move yesterday at the group's meetings in Asheville, North Carolina. Well, that'd be cool. We're meeting in Asheville.
That's where a lot of these big discussions have been going down this week, is in Asheville.
A little hacky sacking. Some weed smoking for these executives, probably. It is Asheville.
Hopefully they're nicer than the folks at Boulder.
That was weird. College football, the CFP did not specify if their model would closely resemble either the Big Ten or the SEC's approaches to player availability reports, which are typically used for, obviously, injuries. In 2023, the Big Ten announced that all teams must submit injury reports at least 2 hours before kickoff. And you have to just write questionable or out.
Wait a minute. Did I hear that right at the end? At least 2 hours before kickoff?
Mm-hmm.
That's it? So they don't.
All teams must do it.
Yeah, but
that was in 2023.
Okay, all right. But there's no midweek report because, like, the NFL has their inactives. We all know this as fantasy football players, and
right.
If we like to do player props and things like that, you want to take a look at the inactives that drop at 11:30. I think is it 90 minutes for NFL?
I think it's 90 minutes. Yeah,
that's cool and that's useful stuff. But if you're trying to, beat the system on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, it would be nice to have an early week report because NFL teams have, I think it's 3, 4, 5 days out. They have to report who practiced, who participated, limited participation.
Yes,
no participation.
They do. Yeah. And 2024, by the SEC did this in 2024. They list one of 4 statuses: out, questionable, probable, or available. And those are submitted on Wednesdays and updated leading up to, including the day of the game.
Yeah.
So Wednesday, you get some information. It can be murky, but that's what you get.
That's the proper way to do it.
And 90 minutes before kickoff is the final report. College football coaches have obviously resisted publicizing player injury information, fearing it benefits opposing teams. However, as I pointed out, when you legalized sports gambling and took the money, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to give and listen, that the Big Ten partnered with the U.S. Integrity to Combat Illegal Gambling Committee. That's a partnership. They're like, okay, well, we have to do this. If we're going to take the money, we got to take responsibility. Yeah.
Game can't be rigged. You actually want people to spend and,
Well, and that's why I've always said that, you want more oversight in this. It almost guarantees that the game's integrity is not affected.
That's why I never understood. It's the policy, and maybe they'll open fall camp back up. Maybe they won't. It's immaterial. Even when we had access, we'd be like, man, is it really that big of a deal if we don't have our third linebacker in this game? Do we really need to be cagey about whether or not that guy's going to be available? I understand if something happens in the course of practice and you want to evaluate and you want to communicate and you want to let families know and so forth. But we have been here extremely aggressive at trying to keep people in the dark on injuries when it doesn't make any sense.
I always thought it was weird that Mike's policy for the longest time was access to practice, which was very forward thinking and impressive that he would do that. I always loved that about him. And I always understood it too and appreciated it. And he would say under that guideline, like, look, if I'm going to let you out here are some rules, parameters, don't talk about injuries when you go on your shows or write your columns or whatever it is you're doing on the message boards or any of that stuff. Just let's not get it out there. He wanted that for 2 reasons. One, there's the medical aspect. And also he wanted to be able to talk to people's families because we're there in real time. You can watch a player go down and he didn't want that reported. And you never had a problem with that. Neither did I. Nobody does.
Sure. And it's not even.
Yeah. It's always just later that we didn't understand. Like, we're going to do this every week now and not.
Right. Yeah, like a guy clearly doesn't play. He's in a boot or he's in street clothes in a game. Like, hey, will he be available next week? Well, we're going to evaluate and we'll see. We're like, does for the extra 5 minutes that the opposition's going to spend on it, does that 5 minutes really make a difference? Because it's not even about like us being able to speak about it or report about it immediately after practice. I don't care about that. It's just that at some point the kid's available or he's not. And if it's not your starting quarterback, is it really that material of a difference for the opposition? I guess his theory is yes. He thinks it is a very significant difference if the opposition knows or they don't know that.
For certain players, perhaps, but yeah.
But yeah, we're doing it for a lot of dudes.
Yes, we are, by the way. We're doing it for a lot of dudes. I'm looking at something here. This can't be right. Deborah's catching heat from Alabama fans right now about recruiting. And I can't get enough of this. We've moved in, according to On3's rankings, we've moved into the top 15.
Yeah.
So we're number 14. And we have no 5-star prospects at all, but we do have 7 4-star prospects and 7 3-star prospects. Our rating is 89 points. Our score is 89 points.
Yeah, our average recruit ranking isn't great, but
it's not great.
The total we brought in is top 15. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we are right now. Alabama only has, Tom, 7 total recruits with yeses so far. One of them is a 5-star. There are 6 4-star. There are no 3-stars. It's all 4. Well, it's 6, 4, 1, 5. That's what they have. So the dearth of numbers is why their ranking is lower. The quality is high, but they're 10th, at least according to On3. Now, again, it's June, but this is where a lot of the hay is made, right here. And it has people, just like it has people in Oklahoma upset. They're 23rd. It's why people are hard on Texas right now, they're loaded for bear, but in the On3 rankings, they're 18th because they only have, 13 total recruits. 6 of them are 3-stars, 6 of them are 4-stars. They got just a 1 5-star. Texas people are like, what are we doing? What's going on here? Anyhow, so I just saw where in the sites that look at the total and put a greater weight to that, so if you have 6 recruits, you're really penalized, obviously, compared to somebody who has 19 like Clemson does. Clemson's currently number 8, according to On3. They have 19 commits. 13 4-stars. That's crazy. Like Notre Dame has 18. Georgia has 18. Texas A&M has 18. Ohio State has 17. These are all those rankings have Alabama outside the top 25. Now, we don't think for a second Alabama is going to finish outside the top 25 in recruiting, but I'll tell you what I hope. I hope that no matter how irrational it is, it gets louder. Let's just create this sinking feeling, the voices, the noise, all of it.
Look, if you have a good first half against Alabama and we're trotting into the locker room ahead at halftime against Alabama, Nole fans out there, just understand there might be an interesting thing that happens in the stands if you've got a Bama fan around you. They might turn to you, smile, and say, good. Finish the gig. Let's get rid of this guy. I bet you there's a segment of them that feel that way.
At that level already?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, they're nuts. Second of all, they're coming off of having Nick Saban. So they're even more nuts. They're nuts on roids. They're crazy.
They are, and the expectations are going to be what ours always were in the 90s, which, when you have that much success, people will call you spoiled, say it's irrational, all those things. But, okay, I got that. But he's been there 1 year.
You've had enough losses that Nick would never have lost in his first year. And he inherited Nick's program. It wasn't like it was a disaster and he took over and he has a little bit of leeway in time because we know that Saban lost to ULM.
Yes.
First year?
Yeah, that's right.
To us. So they're going to be totally irrational. A fan base that is irrational in a different way. I recall the night of Dalvin Cook's touchdown on the first play against Miami, Everett Golson on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the visiting sideline. That's where my buddy's booster seats, his parents were forever and a day. The visiting sideline's about 5 rows up from the bench. So you usually see visiting fans. Bunch of rich, well-to-do Miami fans, there are those, were in front of us. And they turned around at halftime. They said, will you guys stop messing around? Because that game was close. We were only up like 4 at half.
It was
something like
weird.
that.
Yeah, that game sucked.
It did. We missed Auden Tate before halftime, wide open. And they said, will you stop messing around? We want you to get Al fired. We need Al Golden fired. Will you please just do the right thing and handle business tonight? There could be those types of Alabama fans in the stands. If we're winning at halftime, that say, please, by all means, push this guy further out the door.
According to ESPN's ranking, Alabama is not inside the top 25 in recruiting. It's like, okay. Just that guy, the columnist at AL.com.
Oh, I'm sure he's looking for any excuse. Check with it by this time next month. That's when all these kids that are OVing are going to make their decisions. Yeah. About July 15th is the first time that you can get a good idea of where you really
Massive shot in the arm is what I'm going to go ahead and guess here.
For them in Texas both.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
$31 million is being invested in public infrastructure along North Monroe Street to improve the major entryway into Tallahassee. The finished greenway will stretch from Lake Ella to the Lake Jackson archaeological mounds. Sidewalks and pedestrian safety along the roadway are also being critically assessed. There are several portions of the road where sidewalks do not exist. Making this investment could help reduce the number of pedestrian deaths. Currently, there are plans to add sidewalks on North Monroe Street between John Knox Road and Lakeshore Drive. The project is estimated to be finished within the next year. Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare reports that it was notified of a cybersecurity incident involving unauthorized access to data, including certain patient information, by a previous vendor in January. TMH says they are just one of many healthcare organizations nationwide impacted by this incident. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
More heat with a chance of showers and storms through the weekend. Highs staying in the 90s, but with the higher dew points, the heat index, our feels like temperatures in the lower 100s possibly. Rain chances staying in the 40 to 60% range. Tonight, a 30% chance of showers and storms. Early, partly cloudy, low of 75. Saturday, mostly sunny, 60% chance of showers and storms, high of 94. Sunday, mostly sunny, 50% chance of showers and storms, high of 95. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pest, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs. From the fairway to the fire pit, we've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com. For the man who's not afraid to live a little off course, thewaywardgent.com.
Florida man, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Florida man, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, one's taking its air, water, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Florida man, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity to get straightened out.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I can thrust it upon you, Tom Lang. A little red zone. You got first down, ready to go. We shall do this and do this right now. Cue it up, good sir.
Welcome to the majesty.
Every freaking rep.
The elegance.
To win the game. Oh, he hits the upright. It's no good.
You have entered.
Someone burned down the funeral home. You burnt the funeral home.
Lives will be changed.
Sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable.
Mothers will cry.
When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough.
Legacies are etched into eternity.
I know who I am. North. South Dakota was his brother from West Virginia.
This is the Red Zone.
That's good to know.
Join their email list to claim your free retirement readiness assessment, building a winning game plan. Adam Tolliver and his crew at Artisan Financial Strategies, they are the best of the best and tireless hard workers, intelligent, keen insight, business succession, exit strategy, investment management, risk management, estate and legacy planning, financial planning, all of that under their umbrella of expertise. And look, we've talked about this quite a bit. Several of you have reached out to Adam and his crew. We appreciate that. Protect yourself and your family against rising healthcare costs. Go to knollretirement.com to learn more. That's knollretirement.com. They've got a combined 30-plus years of planning experience, world-class resources to help you navigate your way. It's stressful for everybody. It doesn't have to be as much, especially when you have experts working on your behalf. knollretirement.com. First down, Tom.
Side of the football against Alabama, you're watching more closely.
Okay, this is good right off the bat. I thought about it all morning. Our defensive line against their offensive line.
Just in general about...
Well, okay, so this is almost universally so. Alabama is considered to have an elite, maybe the very best offensive line in college football. The game is over if they line up and run the ball for 5 to 7 yards a pop. It's over before it begins.
So it's probably about the running offense, the rush offense for Alabama, because
100%.
This scheme is supposed to confuse you. So it's supposed to confuse offensive line assignments, blocking assignments. You can do that in the run game as well. It doesn't just have to be in pass protection. But I would guess we would effort for that to be our equalizer, is that confusion, assignments, chemistry between tackle to guard, guard to center. Those communications have to be pinpoint and precise and within a tenth of a second, because we're going to change angles. It's more than just, this is the thing about the new scheme. We don't know if Tony White's going to be 3 down or 4 down more of the time this season. And then number 2, it's not necessarily about you have to win in order for your linebackers or safeties to make a play. We're going to try to confuse you on defense. It's not just about line it up and see who's tougher. The Fuller defense was our front needs to be tougher than your front, which paves the way for our second and third waves to do what they're going to do. It's not that simple anymore.
It's not, but one simple aspect of football is if I'm able to line up and run the ball effectively with my 5 against however you want to present defensively, it doesn't change much. If you're getting pushed back to the tune of 5 yards, physically manhandled, that's a better way of looking at it. Now they'll mix it up and maybe get them to go in fits and stops and starts and those kinds of things, but it won't be a good sign, Tom, if we're getting mauled. And it's not like that's a group that has a lot of depth. Some things are simple. Like I used to talk about this all the time when we get into conversations about zone blocking. Yeah, even within the zone blocking scheme, there are days and times and moments that it's just man to man. The guy across from you've got to be able to put up a fight.
Yeah, it's how you determine. It can be how you determine
right
where you go. But then once you're there, it's you against him.
That's correct. Yeah. And if they're winning across the board in that, this will be an ugly game, and it won't. It's not going to turn out well. Because you don't suspect that we're going to be prolific on offense, which is what it would take to combat the kind of dominance I'm talking about up front if it happens.
Yeah, this is very difficult to assess now because, first of all, there are so many new players on both sides of the ball, but then deception is a big part of what we're doing on both sides of the football. You don't usually see that. Like Gus's primary focus is going to be very basic, running the football, but he's going to do so and generate the lanes that he wants and the ability to get to the line of scrimmage unharmed, which he's done a great job of his entire career. No contact until the line of scrimmage, through confusion or putting people in a point of conflict. Same kind of thing we're doing to the offensive line on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you asked for it. I gave you the answer. It's defensive line, our defensive line. However, it's presenting against their offensive line. That's what I'm going to be looking at very early on.
Okay.
I get it's more nuanced than that, but that's what I'm looking at.
Second down, offensive skill position you'll be watching the most against Alabama, and I'm taking quarterback.
I was going to say it's got to be Tommy Castellano. I mean, that's the one. Well, then running back. I mean, how much are they going to go? I'm going to assume Sawchuk is going to get a ton of carries right out the gates. I suppose Roydell, but the other part of that would be how quickly do they play the freshman? How uniquely gifted is Usman Kroma? Because he's 215, he's thickly built. It's a matter of can he handle the intensity of a college football game against the likes of Alabama in his first career game at this level. I don't know. Cam didn't handle it very well. And I don't know that he should have been out there. In fact, I disagreed with the decision to have him out there.
7 players that were better than him in that moment.
That's correct. Yeah. And they made a mistake, and he coughed it up right off. He dropped the ball that he's going to still be running. And, I don't think he ever recovered, quite frankly. He wasn't ready. Now, do I think he's as gifted as Kroma? No, not at all. So, it's apples to oranges, but I'm curious to see how quickly they get him in the flow of the rotation.
Yeah, the group that I'm going to be watching is the tight ends. You've got a lot of players that you like. I just wonder from formations standpoints where guys are going to line up relative to line of scrimmage, H-back position, tailback position, you name it. You've got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things. You have mentioned a lot. I've heard you guys on headlines talk a lot about Randy Pittman and Jaheim Bell, and some crossover capabilities. Randy Pittman does have versatility to line up in a lot of different places. But then there's Biscuit. If you need an inline and you want to play power, he's probably the next guy you look at. Amari Williams, is he going to be used out the gates?
Yeah.
And Landon Thomas. So across the board, do you put two guys out there most of the time? Is there only one tight end out there most of the time? I guess that could bleed into the third down question, which would be...
Yeah, I like your answer, by the way. I think that's a good answer because you're coming at it from the standpoint of scheme as opposed to importance of any particular segment group. Like the reason I said running back is Gus is going to want to run the ball 60, 40, 70, 30 any given Saturday, right? He's going to want to do that. So I just focused on the running backs. But from a scheme standpoint and the way they line up, yeah, I like your answer a lot.
Yeah, well, and that would be leading into third down. Okay, so from the offensive scheme, what are you looking for? Like, it's not about can our offensive line block them. I get that. I'm just about personnel usage on the field. Is there something that you're interested in? How many receivers we have out there at a given time? The tight ends? Do you go two back? Is there something the way that we line up, the way that we are dictating this is what we want to do game plan wise, that you're curious to see how Gus decides to play it?
I think doubling down on tight end, what you just said, I agree with that. I really do. It's funny when you go back and look at him, this is going to be an offense that doesn't, even if successful, I don't think it's going to do anything aesthetically that it's dropping jaws. I think you're just going to be kind of like, okay, this is oddly effective, and we're going to possess the football. And the next thing you know, you're just staying ahead of change, something we could never do the last couple of years in the run game. That was dreadful. Even in the successful season, I brought it up right away at the start of the season where he had so many runs of 1 or 2 yards or less. This whole offense seems to be predicated from what I saw of Dominic's breakdown and then also what I saw in the spring scrimmage. Now, again, you can only take that with a grain of salt. Seems to be very, very predicated on 3 yards, 4 yards, somewhere in that neighborhood. That's
2nd and 7, 2nd and 6.
Yeah, that's what the whole offense is.
Right. Nothing special to get there. Not going to often dial up trick plays on the first play of a series.
Right. That's what I mean.
Or the first play of a drive, if you want to get specific about it. Because your first play of the series could be your second first down, and you might try and pop one there.
It feels like you're leaning on people at a rapid pace and just trying to almost steal yards. You're stealing 3 yards based on confusion and speed.
Right.
And I'm just leaning on you now. And you know what? You still have to tackle me. And nothing special here. And it's 2nd and 7. It's 3rd and 2.
Well, and a lot of times it's not necessarily even a run up the middle, even though that's something that we talked about when Gus was at Auburn, stop the dive. It could be a quick bubble. Like snap the ball. Oh, they're not honoring it. Hey, if they're going to play off in the slot, I'm just going to hit squirrel,
right?
And he'll get tackled right away, but he's already 3 yards downfield.
2nd and 5, 2nd and 6.
And now we go turbo. Here it is.
Yeah.
And you get into your groove.
Well, and you can offset some deficiencies on your offensive line by playing fast. So, yes.
Well, that's fair. Okay, 4th down. Do I detect correctly? ? Do I detect correctly that you're starting to feel a little bit better about Castellanos as we get closer to the season? It sounds like you're more positive when you speak on him of late.
I just think they are going to run him, which is why he was brought here, and you need to run the hell out of him. I don't think he's special. I think he's a really good runner. I don't see how you would ever bring him here without doing that. And he did pick it up quick in spring. He had a real command of the offense in spring. To the point, Tom, where he yelled at players for being out of position or not correctly performing the right assignment or making the right read. Like, he was getting on guys, and I never saw Gus correct him. So I think, he had it. He understood what he was looking at and what he was doing. So, yeah, I worry he's going to get hurt. He's tiny. But I don't know. You can't go to football games constantly scared somebody's going to get hurt. I mean, it's just what it is.
It seems like as you're sitting with it, knowing that they are going to run him, well, if you're going to do it, then he's a gifted player at doing that.
He's very gifted at doing that. And
you saw some of that where they blew it dead in the scrimmage, too.
He was gone. That's against our defense.
5th down. Is there anything I could do to make you happier this offseason?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Artisan Financial Strategies, NoelRetirement.com. NoelRetirement.com is where you want to go. Let the experts help you out. I know that, oh man, do we have a break left or do we go straight into MLB? Let's go. Probables, baby. Fire it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
We made it through the week together, kids. They're in the 6th inning, and the Mariners and the Cubs. It's 4-2 Cubs. George Kirby, Matthew Boyd.
Cal Raleigh's homered in that game. So
because
that's now
what else is new?
28 home runs. He ties Johnny Bench for the most home runs by a catcher before the All-Star break, and he's got a couple of weeks yet to go.
Very cool. Keep it going, Cal. Rangers Pirates this evening. Jacob deGrom, Mike Burrows. I bet the under in that baseball game, kiddos. Total runs, I think, was set at 8.5, and I went under. You can get it, do it. Tigers Rays, Jack Flaherty, Shane Baz. Orioles Yankees. Tomoyoki Sugano and Max Fried. That total earlier today was at 8.5. I bet the under. White Sox Blue Jays, Grant Taylor, Spencer Turnbull. Braves Marlins, Didier Fuentes with a great name. And Jansen Junk. What a great name for these two guys.
Jansen Junk, he better be a lefty, soft toss.
I don't know. He's 1-0 with a 2.78. Reds Cardinals, Brady Singer, Andre Palante. We got the Mets and the Phillies. Mets happy to not see the Braves. Blade Tidwell is the young man's name pitching for you.
Yeah, he's a young pitcher, pretty good, but earlier start this season didn't go so hot.
No, it didn't. It didn't. Zach Wheeler goes for the Philly. Golly, you're up against it this week.
Bet the over tonight. This is one of those find by hook or crook a way to score 5 runs if you're the Mets. I like the over for the game.
All right. Brewers Twins, Jacob Mizorowski and Joe Ryan. D-backs, Rockies, Zach Gallen, Austin Gomber. That game had a run total of 12. Bet the under. Astros, Angels, Hunter Brown. Royals, Padres, Michael Lorenz and Nick Pivetta. Guardians, A's, Tanner Bibby, Jeffrey Springs. Nationals, Dodgers. Mackenzie Gore and Clayton Kershaw. Red Sox, Giants, Hunter Dobbins, Hayden Birdsong. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. The air that I breathed went down the wrong way because I'm old and it happens for no effing reason. Good work out of you, T. Lizzie, and to all of you, thanks for listening all week long. We got through the week together. Hang in. We'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend. Peace.